Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show today. Very happy to have you all here. And I got to tell you, today is a bit of a special one. I know some of the youngins that come on the show won't have a clue who this guy is, but you do know who he is. It's kind of like Jeff and I were talking about Philip K. Dick earlier. You don't know his name and you don't want to repeat it too often. However, legend, but Edgar Rice Burroughs. My goodness. I'm going to lay it down for you today and talk about him. And of course, there are a plethora of things to get into with him. And even though you might not know his name, you know him for sure because he had so many series. I could think of five, six off the top of my head that were certainly turned into movies or TV shows
Hmm.
or comic books or all kind of things. So you certainly know of him whether you know his name or not. But he, as you see in the tagline, is the master of adventure, and he wrote amazingly fun adventure books. And he also was very pulpy. And what that means is because I know some of us older dudes throw that word around and maybe we don't define it. Pulp is something that is absurd and outrageous concept. That's the root or core of the story, right? That's what pulp is. And Edgar Rice Burroughs might well have been the best one. Now, I know people got to get into the noir pulp stuff, and okay, fine. Fine, we can have an argument. But Edgar was quite amazing. And we're going to get into that today. But first, I'm going to go say hello to everybody. Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Hello.
Chowstar.
Okay. And of course, I'm going to hit that like and share button. Please do the same. Let everybody know to come in because this is a bit of a special day, to be fair. Well, we do a lot of fun things, but this is an author that I don't hear anyone talk about. I hear his IPs being thrown around, and we've seen so many
True.
movies, but no one talks about him, right?
Hmm.
Anymore. And I think that's a shame because I think he's more approachable than a lot of that era's writers. Because you got to keep in mind, say this is over 100 years ago, right? With these people,
Right.
you have Lovecraft. You have Edgar Allan Poe, Edgar Rice Burroughs, you have Robert E. Howard, and others.
Mhm.
And there was just a glut of amazing writers, particularly
That's
American
correct.
writers at that period. And they all were kind of friends and interacting with each other. And keep in mind, it was a bit later, but we also started getting some people, which I would say would be influenced, like J.R.R. Tolkien and some of those other guys. I can't imagine that they weren't reading some of those books, right? Would anyone
I
here
guess you
believe
know.
that? Yeah, I wouldn't.
Um,
No.
I'm sure none of them ever read any Rich Bro stuff. It's like, what? No, it was, the biggest thing out there, but I'm sure they never bothered to, read much. They're too busy
Yeah,
writing.
right. Thank you. Sarcasm,
Ah,
sarcasm got. But of course, the interesting thing also, hey Doug, is that Jeff and I were just kind of. I didn't even think of it before, but as I was talking to Jeff, Burroughs started writing, or at least his career began. Quite late. He was like in his mid late 30s before he was published. His first book was Princess of Mars, which is the Barsoom series, the first book. Tarzan came later,
mm,
actually. Um, Whereas, because most people think of Tarzan when they think of him, but actually he started with the Barsoom series, and that's the first thing I ever heard of him. I knew he did some magazine stuff, and in that came, out of that came my favorite Edgar Rice Burroughs book, which I'll get to in a bit. But it did start with not John Carter of Mars, although that was I forget what book that was, seven,
really?
yeah,
That
or
long before
eight,
they got too much further.
yeah. Now, I'm going to keep it real with you. Um, there is some amazing stuff that he wrote. There is some good stuff he wrote, and there is some crap. It wasn't all great, but mostly it was.
What do you
Um,
think was one of the worst pieces?
a lot of those single shot things weren't great.
Mm,
Some of the later Tarzan, where he's just running out of ideas, weren't not great.
yeah,
The
just had a
Barsoom
concept.
series was all great. That I don't know
Okay.
why, because they all these different series were over the same span of time, right? But the
Mhm.
Barsoom series was really good, except for number 11. But number 11 isn't real because that was published posthumously when after he died,
Right.
and it's really two kind of short stories together. The first one's okay, and the second one his son wrote, and boy, whew, can you tell, right? That and it that did the son didn't fall; he fell far from the tree. But which is different from Tolkien's son because the Silmarillion was basically put together, and bits and stuff and appendices were added by his son, and it wasn't that bad. Um,
Hmm.
but but anyway, there's basically 10 books in the Barsoom series. Tarzan, I don't even know, 30. I mean, my goodness,
120.
it's a lot. He wrote 80
I feel
books
like
in
a
his
lot.
life.
Yeah.
26.
46. So more than half his books were Tarzan.
No,
And fair enough.
26. 20.
26. Oh, sorry. I thought you said 46. It's a lot. But to be fair, those books made money for him. They were money makers.
Mm,
And therefore, let me take a minute before we get in here and I start talking and asking people questions. Uh, Let me come on over here and take a look at this. Now, of course, like I said, the Barsoom series, there's 10, 11 if you count the posthumous book. And it started with a princess of Mars, and it went on many amazing adventures. And they weren't all about John Carter, by the way. Some of his children were involved, some other people showed up that had nothing to do with John Carter. And he
wow.
did that quite a bit. Keep in mind, not every Tarzan book is about Lord Greystoke, right?
Oh.
He was really good at that. You might tell that I've read a lot. Now, the Pellucidar series, I did
What's up?
read them all, although they didn't make as big as an impression on me. But the movie was better. This is At the Earth's Core, about that professor that builds a drill and digs down into the hollow earth, right? There's a bunch of books he wrote about that, and some of them are better than others, but they're fine. Like I said, for me, the movie was more interesting, right? And there's been several
Which
takes
one?
on Hollow Earth, the old one.
Uh,
That Yeah, there's been many takes on it. Matter of fact, I think they did a kind of remake with that idiot I can't stand,
Go away.
that comedian.
that doesn't narrow it down.
No, like I really don't like this guy. He thinks he's funny. He's really not.
Oh, well, that was Land of the Lost, though.
Well, yeah, but that's his book too. I mean,
Yeah, I think more of the TV series when I think that than his book.
but it is his book though.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, The
Yeah,
Lost
we all know
Continent is his book as well,
you
right?
hate him with a passion.
Yes, I don't like him. Anyway, the Pellucidar series,
Oh.
like I said, At the Earth's Core, they're fine. The books are okay. Like I said, I just enjoy the movies better. Tarzan, of course. Now I got to talk about Tarzan for a second here because you got to understand how and this is kind of my personal story involving his books, Edgar Rice Burroughs' books. I found the books by accident, and kinda. They were in my grandmother's house, but I ignored them because they weren't an encyclopedia, and I was a weird child.
This is not encyclopedia.
It's
Boring.
not an encyclopedia. However, there were two shows when I was a little kid that I loved, and I think I'm going to get some hell yes here in a second. One was The Adventures of Daniel Boone.
I
Or no,
prefer
no,
David
not
Crockett.
Davy Crockett. Davy Crockett. Sorry, David
Oh,
Crockett.
okay.
Ah,
Then we're on
Whew.
the same book. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And
Hey,
yeah,
what's wrong with you?
I loved that. And then the other thing I love was Johnny Weissmuller as Tarzan.
ooh,
Oh, I
that's
loved it.
classic.
I loved it. Matter of fact, I get a little clip for you. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here, let's listen. You should listen.
Okay. You
Maybe
sure?
I should share first. I'm not sharing with you guys, so I'll come and do that first.
So did you have the hat with the little tail on the back too?
Hmm?
Was that
Daniel
the hat?
Boone, yeah.
Yeah, Danny Boone. Yeah.
Rat, rat
But
coon hat.
yeah. He
Oh,
had
here we
the
go.
coonskin cap. Yeah. But I loved that show when I was a kid, and all these old guys did. But I also loved and this is before we were born, by the way. We were getting syndication and stuff like that, but it was awesome. But Johnny
Sure.
Weissmuller, he was the Tarzan that most of us know
Hmm.
and grew up with, and the image of it is a Weissmuller's thing, and he had one of them an amazing voice because he could do this. And keep in mind, this is forever ago. There was no CG or MP4 or any of that kind of stuff. This is an actual human voice. Would you like to hear?
Yeah, there's a do.
Yeah, baby. I don't know, but as a kid, that was awesome. That was so awesome.
I was more familiar with the next Tarzan.
No, I saw this guy.
Yeah,
I was on the East Coast. Maybe that's the
yeah.
difference, but yeah,
Ron
that
Eli, he had a series though.
It's funny for
sure.
the Tarzan
Yeah, that's why
movie.
I was more familiar with him.
And I did see the series as well and stuff, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Weissmuller because I mean, come on, dude.
Oh
I
yeah.
Hmm.
mean, that's just insane that you can do that with your voice. But anyway, Tarzan was really cool, and then therefore I remember. Well, I don't know how old I was super small, but I remember on the bookshelf there was a bunch of books called Tarzan, and I saw the Tarzan. I was like, oh, so I went and I read them, and of course it was Edgar Rice Burroughs'
Uh-huh.
books, and there was a few of them, and I read them, and I was instantly confused.
Instantly.
Well,
Okay.
in the books, Tarzan is
Hmm.
basically a genius, whereas the
Hmm.
Tarzan they put on film was a bit of an idiot. Tarzan speaks French first. He's mainly a French
Hmm.
speaker. He is a British, lord, Greystoke, but and he spoke several languages, but he mainly was a French speaker, and he murdered a lot of shit,
Hmm.
a lot. So I was a bit confused because like, well, this is not it's not that.
No.
Right. But of course, as I get older, I kept reading more and more of his stuff because he is a fun writer. But
Hmm.
did you guys know that the Tarzan in the books is not the Tarzan you get in the on the TV shows and cartoons and stuff like that?
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, I think the Tarzan that kind of became popular ended up being. Oh, I like him more as a character. He's more heroic for the most part. The
Well,
books
Tarzan's
are
heroic, but he's
shocking.
brutal.
Yeah, but I mean that's pretty dark. I
Well,
mean,
all of Burroughs likes his violent action. That is for damn sure. But moving along here, of course, we also have the Venus series. There were 5 in that, and that's yeah.
eh.
Then of course you have the Moon trilogy, which is okay, and of course the Land That Time Forgot. Of course, Lost Continent, etc., etc. He did do like 4 Western books. The only one I've read is Apache Devil, so I don't know the other ones. But that was on my grandmother's shelf, so And of course, my favorite Edgar Rice. I'm going to ask some of the people who know him later,
Mhm.
but my favorite Edgar Rice Burroughs is the Mucker. Um,
The muck.
yeah, and this character actually started in the magazines or newspaper. A lot of writers
Mhm.
at that time would do short stories in the newspapers, right? And
Hmm.
he did that as well. But the Mucker is my favorite one. And I don't know if how Jeff and Eric, do you know the Mucker?
No, no. I was going to do a Muffin Man joke, but no, I don't know the Mucker.
The reason I like this one the most, and I
Yeah.
found this when I was a little bit older.
Was it set in Japan? I mean, that's what it looks like.
No, he does
Oh,
go over
okay.
to the Orient. He does, but
Ah.
no, it's set in Chicago.
Oh, really?
At
Yeah.
Chicago?
I
Oh
would
no,
not picture that with
initially.
all those samurai.
Well, it starts in Chicago, and a
Oh,
mucker, of
okay.
course. is a very old American slang word from like the 20s and 30s. And it refers to a very lowly, vulgar, dirty laborer. And of course, it's also
Mm,
meant to talk about people who do dirty work for the mafia or gangs,
mm.
murderers, right? And that's who our character is. He is a mucker. He's a brute. He's murderous, although he does flee because he's accused of a murder he didn't commit, which is kind of weird because he did others.
Mm.
He's an absolute
Right, those
drunk.
are
He's a
fun.
disaster of a human, horrible human. He's just
Okay.
low, vulgar, ghetto as hell,
Terrible
but
person.
terrible person. But during the stories with him,
Hmm.
he grows and changes and becomes a good person.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
cool.
good story. I really like the Mucker. It's not. It's more of a character study than because some of the John Carter stuff and Tarzan could be a bit of a character study, but this is a 100% character study. And I
Wow.
think he wrote this a little later. I don't know if it was it called The Last Frontier, his last book he wrote, but that book was quite different. It was clear that World War II had an effect on him.
Mm.
That book reads very differently than his other stuff. But nevertheless, that's Edgar Rice Burroughs in the quickest nutshell I could come up with. So
Right.
there is 80 books. Um, the vast majority of them are good to amazingly excellent, right?
Right.
And
Which is
there are some that
incredible.
aren't great, but mostly they're really good, and it's just great pulp adventure. And of course, I know you all recognize a few things that I mentioned. Nevertheless, there's my
Mhm.
spiel, Jeff.
That's a
Okay.
good spiel.
You're supposed to
What do
kazoo
you
now.
think? Oh, oh, oops.
You were not specific in that
That
request,
was a
so
soft toss, buddy.
I'm not married to you. I'm not required to read your mind.
That's fair. Thank you,
Yay!
thank you, thank you. What were we gonna say, Amy?
Oh, I was going to ask, what do you think would be the difference between, or distinction, I guess, between pulp and high concept?
Well, you would have to explain to me what high concept means beyond me knowing what the words mean.
Oh, okay. Um, well, what I've heard high concept is generally referred to as something which has a story which is kind of, well, I guess that might be it then. You can summarize roughly. I was kind of thinking a little bit more about it. So like something which it would be like somebody finds a car that can fly and their adventures trying to figure out, who it originally belonged to, or
Oh,
maybe the car decides to fly, like
yeah.
but
So
once in a while they'll take
the
off someplace else.
absurd, yeah.
So
Yeah,
right.
no, you are basically referencing modernity here. It's the
Hmm.
same reason we get idiots running around saying, I'm non-binary, where we actually have a word for that. It's called androgyny. You see, people always desire to create their own version of word. For some reason, the words that exist aren't good enough for them. So I would say high concept is certainly a modern highfalutin way of saying pulp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So something which would be, so do you think the mucker would be
it's not
like the
pulp at
opposite
all.
of helpful?
It's not pulp.
Ah,
Well,
okay, because it's
because what happens is he escapes Chicago. I didn't want to get into the detail, but he escapes Chicago and he runs to California because he's been accused of a crime he didn't commit, even though he's a really bad
hmm
person. Right?
right.
Anyway, and he gets
That's the one he didn't
you
commit.
got to keep in mind the period, right? Literally gets shanghaied.
Mm.
Do I need to
Shanghai?
explain what that means? Yeah, okay. Shanghaied means to be kidnapped, thrown onto a boat, and forced to serve on it as a slave.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that used to happen a lot in
Oh,
Shanghai. That's
like the
how we,
Africans.
yeah, like the Africans. Well, that's how we built the railways.
Oh yeah.
It's a big
It's
way that the British used to maintain their navy and their sailor
yeah,
count was just whacking
Kidnapping
people over the head. You wake up on a boat, you're
yep,
out to sea.
Oh
There's
yeah.
nothing you can do
yep.
about it.
And if you don't do exactly what you're told, you will be beaten to death and then thrown off a boat.
people? That can't be legal.
The British were the law at that time.
Ship's
They were
captains answered to no one.
no one. Yeah, they still don't, to be honest with you. But so he gets shanghaied, and that's why you saw what looked like samurai. He goes on an adventure over into
Mm.
the Orient, and he sees all those things. And like I said, during the process, he goes from being a vile creature into a good man who does good things. And that's probably why I liked the most, because there are several little short stories in a book, and it's a very in-depth character study, more than his other stuff. And I'm
Mm.
not going to sit here and say Tarzan doesn't have the same thing, because it does. But the Mucker is, I think I put it this way, it's his most mature book.
Mm.
Oh,
Because
okay.
because he wrote a lot of fun, anybody can enjoy adventure. That's why I said the master of adventure, because his stuff was fun. Anybody can read it
Mhm.
and have a good time, good fun time reading Edgar Rice Burroughs. But that was more of a serious thing, and it's kind of unfortunate the period it came out, because it doesn't get much attention. And if you were going to give an
Mm.
award to Burroughs, an actual writing award, it would be for that book. Whereas no one pays attention. All of the attention is on the fun adventure of Tarzan and John Carter, and
Right.
the things like that. But it's
Mhm.
just my opinion. You know,
Yeah. No, I think a book that focuses kind of on an interesting character arc is just more compelling.
I think so.
It can be, oh, how do you get out of this, dastardly thing? That can be interesting,
Yeah, but I didn't read
but,
that till much later, when I was an adult, though,
mm,
because all the stuff on the bookshelf in my grandmother's house were Tarzan, John Carter, the
FK 1
Venus
minute.
series. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
mm.
was all that kind of stuff. And
Did-
as a kid, I loved that. So.
That's cool.
Yeah. They did have another thing on the shelf, and I did read
Mhm.
one. It was called Zane Grey. And
Hmm.
no,
No.
No,
Okay.
no,
The answer
no.
is no.
no. I was a kid when I read it, so maybe if as an adult I'd enjoy it more. But boy, that wasn't fun at all. I didn't like that book.
You liked encyclopedias,
I
and that was
did.
unusual.
I did like encyclopedias.
But encyclopedias at least are, tomes of
Informative?
knowledge and informative. If you're not going to be informative, then at least be entertaining.
That's right. Anybody read Zane Grey stuff?
Don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Apparently, it doesn't come recommended.
A Western. They're Western books.
Ah,
Zane Grey was it the writer or the character? I can't remember. And I'm the only person. All right, fine. I'll keep it to myself then.
well, what was it about that was so
It was a boring
uninteresting?
Western about men being men, and women and love and ick, you know.
Oh, okay. A bit tedious for a small lad, eh?
Yeah, I was a kid. But
Hmm.
yeah, of course, encyclopedias are very, very interesting. Would you like to guess when the first encyclopedia came out? Anybody?
1812.
1800s?
No, that's a
Is it
wrong
the
answer.
closest without
Dang
going
it.
over?
Huh?
Is it the closest without going over?
Wrong
1925.
answer, dude.
Well, the oldest one I know of was the Ura, or the Hubululu. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's a real
No.
word. But it's a
Balloon.
Babylonian encyclopedia for more than 2 millennia ago. Hmm.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't have one of them though. That
Oh.
would be cool.
Okay.
But I do have encyclopedia from a few hundred years ago.
So you could look up probably about the French Revolution and stuff in that.
Well, you know what I like to do? I like to take a
Hmm.
look at the old encyclopedias and compare them to like over a 50 or 100-year span, and see
Mm.
how they've evolved, and definitions have changed, and opinion, because people lie a lot,
Mm-hmm.
No,
you know.
not around here.
Yeah. And the encyclopedias are a really good way of sussing out such cultural lies and propaganda.
Triangulating that,
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I do love it.
Well, I can tell you back in 17 whatever, people did not think that meant that. So,
Well, my grandmother, my grandparents, they had a King James Bible, and
you know,
it was literally within the first 50 years of that being
so
published.
good.
Yeah. So from
Whoa, wait,
the
that's a very good.
1600s, it was very old. Because
Wow.
they brought it with them from Ireland when they came over on the Mayflower, right?
hmm
Thomas Allen, right? It's his
As you
book.
do.
It's his name. Well, it's not the first name, but it's his book. My grandmother's an Allen, by the
Mhm.
way.
How cool.
My grandfather's not, but they came over a little bit later, like
Mhm.
10 years or something like that. But anyway, when they came over with when the Pilgrims came over with the books, came over, not the first group, but there were many groups that came. You know, the story only tells us about that first devastating winter, right?
Sure.
But there were people constantly flooding in over the next 20 years, right? And
Mhm.
of course, a lot of books were brought in. These are Protestants, so you know. And some of the things that were brought over were encyclopedias. And I actually
Oh,
had access to my grandparents' series of encyclopedias starting from around 1660.
oh my gosh.
Yeah,
They let you read them,
of course. They
or they
said,
couldn't stop you?
well, they didn't pay attention. I'm like the only person touched the bookshelf, you know.
All right, Chester, I'm done.
Good.
Woo! Oh, shading on that monkey was tough, but I pulled it out somehow.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, we got the you're doing the Apache book.
Woo! No, I'm doing Tarzan, Kirkshak and Tarzan fighting. I'm done, as you can
Yeah.
see. Whew!
Well, I'm
Like his
looking
pencil
at
was
you
on
doing
fire for a
the
moment there.
Apache on a horse. I'm literally looking at
That's
you.
You're
not
looking
me.
at me, you Dumbo.
Oh, okay.
You're looking at Eric, who's part Chippewa and Choctaw.
That's fair.
Cherokee and Choctaw.
Well, baby, she's a Chippewa.
I'm an Indian outlaw.
That's a good song, though, dude. That's a good song. I love that song. Are we allowed to like
That
that
was
song
Shakespeare's
anymore? Is
favorite
it
song.
illegal? It might be illegal.
No,
I
it
think
was
it's
William
okay.
Shakespeare's favorite hit.
hmm
He heard that and he wrote A Midsummer Night's Dream
Fair enough.
based on that
Cherokee
song.
people.
What
You know, I like
should I
that.
draw? There's so much.
I don't know. I like that. I like that group, Redbone, and because they have that really cool song. And then I went and looked for more Redbone, and I found, oh well, they're racist. Oh well,
Oh.
they're
they really?
Indians, by the way. Oh, they're very racist. They hate the white man
I
a
didn't
lot.
know they were Indians until like a couple of years ago.
No, I didn't either. To be fair, I didn't, because I'd heard that song. Of course, it's a famous song, right? But when
Oh yeah.
when the Guardians movie hit and became famous, I came across it on the YouTube, and it's a catchy song, dude. It's a great catchy
Oh
song.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, it suggested other Redbone movies, songs. Sorry. So I was like, oh, let's click on that. Oh my goodness, they really don't like white
Ugh.
people.
That's sad.
But they like white people's money
They do. No, they always like our money. That's for sure.
and a
Uh,
whiskey.
Well, Redbone is a term that means mixed race, so that's kind of weird.
They look pretty Indian, though.
It means you're half.
Does it? I didn't know that, but they looked very Indian, though. They didn't look
It's
mixed
probably the
at all.
costume. Mhm.
I don't know what they're mad about. There's more of them now than there ever were, and they're all making casino money. What's the problem?
That seems something like justice.
Oh,
Well, I mean, yeah, don't believe the hype, Amy. That whole nonsense narrative of Hollywood that the white man murdered all the Indians is not accurate at all.
Oh, I'm sure it wasn't.
No, pretty much the vast majority of our interactions between the Europeans and the natives actually was quite peaceful.
I mean, that just kind of makes sense. If you're trying to settle a frontier, why would you start off with like, you know what we're gonna do? Let's just immediately
Let's
go to
pick a
war.
fight. Yeah,
Let's,
let's just pick a fight.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it didn't happen
we'll
like
do
that.
that.
The real
We'll go.
the real nasty, ugly stuff happened because of the American government. Very late. We're
No.
talking about after the Civil War, quite a bit after the Civil War, and you had a bunch of screaming Karens about unwashed savages. Was really why the cavalry went out. Now there are a few incidences, but keep in mind if you go and do your actual research, the actual Indian massacre stuff, there's not a lot of them. There's really not. John Wayne lied to us. Damn it.
Well, that's good. I mean, the
Question: Have
fewer
you heard the news coming out
mass
of
killings
Illinois?
in history there are, the better. Oh.
I don't know. Is it like ghetto nonsense?
Well, no, it has to do with Indians that they're putting through a bill that all these schools and high schools and grade schools will have to remove all their imagery and mascots if it's Native American related, which is just about every school in the state.
Especially in Illinois, I'd imagine. Yeah. Really? I
Yeah, they're
thought the
talking like $80 million worth it's going to take to redo. 8 million. I think 8 million is just one of the local schools by me
well,
to tear up
they
the
could
gym floor, which they just put down. They have put in a new one now.
well
The
they could
football
well no,
field.
they could tell them to go kick rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everything comes from Chicago. They decide what we do here.
Oh, well maybe we should handle that.
I'd like to.
Yeah, because that guy, he doesn't like Memorial Day. He prefers Africa Day.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that nonsense?
What? What did Africa do?
I don't know. I don't know what they have to do with Memorial Day.
Think
To
of.
be fair, most Americans hate Memorial Day.
Why? It's
They treat
remembering
it-
our veterans, dead veterans.
That's exactly why they hate it. They treat it as beer day, not as any sort of respect.
Really?
It's just a day for
We
people to
had like
drink.
a kind of a parade and went to a bunch of preachers speaking when I was a kid.
Mhm.
Here it's pretty much barbecue and drinking.
Yeah.
We did we took the kids to a parade, and actually fireworks the night before. They had fireworks to celebrate Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
And usually over at the cemetery. We didn't go over to the cemetery this year, though. One of the national cemeteries, they usually have a ceremony over there.
That's weird. I don't know about fireworks for Memorial Day. I mean, Armed Forces Day, of course, is dealing with the
Well, you know,
soldiers right now.
for the
And of
ones that are
course,
living, they
Veterans
can
Day,
remember their
living.
nightmares.
Well, like Veterans Day and Armed Forces Day, fireworks sounds good, but Memorial Day, I don't know. That's
Yeah, I was surprised at the fireworks myself. I was like, fireworks?
Yeah. But there's
I
a lot.
watch Deadly Prey every Memorial Day
You watch what?
in honor of our Deadly Prey in honor of our Vietnam vets.
Oh, fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Mike
I
Denton
thought you were going to say
was
the
the best
deer
in
hunter,
Vietnam.
but you know.
Still is.
Oh, did you guys see the king went to Canada?
Elvis?
No.
Oh, right.
He was dead.
Charles.
Oh.
Yeah.
Boo.
Did you see what he
The
did?
dog?
Mm-hmm.
He tamed all those other dogs. It was awesome.
Well, no, I'm
Nice.
telling you, Canada is just getting licked from all sides, man. Trump's got a hard on for him.
The
The
dogs do.
Chinese are taking advantage in a brutal way. It's much worse than what Trump's doing. And King Charles shows up and says, "We, the British people, renounce our claim to Canada and give it back to the indigenous people."
I'm pretty sure dogs can't talk.
Fair, but I don't imagine this is what the Canadians thought he was going to say. Now, I don't know that he
So
has
do
any
all the
power
Canadians
to
have to
do that.
leave now?
What do you say?
Do all the Canadians have to leave now?
Well, I don't think they have to follow his order, but I think Carney thought he would
okay.
come in and shore him up against Trump. But no, Charles just said, well, we no longer control it. The indigenous people and the wonderful indigenous who are all amazing people shall get their lands back.
Mm-hmm.
He sounded much more like a woman than that, though. Of course,
Yes.
it is King Charles. So
So
Man.
magnanimous of him.
he's very
Oh,
magnanimous. He is the ultra woke progressive magnanimous. He is.
He's a shaggy
traitor
little
to the
fella.
church.
He is. Kind of wish they would find him to be senile and let William come in, because how could it get worse? I mean, really. But then again, we're
I
American. What
guess
do we care about that nonsense?
Looks like all that
kind of,
Kuru starting to catch up to somebody.
you kind of hope for the best for everybody, I guess. But, boy,
Oy vey. You didn't finish that. You gotta.
oy
Yeah,
vey.
Jew it up.
I was actually talking about this past week when I was on vacation visiting my father-in-law. We were talking about King Charles being in Canada, and my point was, isn't the British royalty the biggest grift in world history?
Oh, it's a pretty good one. Yeah. Very
Right? Like,
successful.
they somehow convinced an entire nation to support them, to make them some of the wealthiest people in the world,
Right.
have no responsibility, no control over the government, but the people love them. And you're like, how did you pull this off?
It is pretty impressive, especially when you think about we can track them most directly back to Transylvania.
They're
I mean,
vampires?
I'm not even joking. Yeah. Now, of course, all the royals in Europe come out of Babylon. I mean, if you really want to get into it, but it is the Windsors and Stuarts and stuff like that. They are directly from Transylvania. Yeah.
But when the rest of the world cast off the hierarchy, the monarchies, and was like, we're done. And somehow they seemed to sniff it out early enough and said, no, we'll give it back to you. You can keep the country. It's great. And everybody was like, oh, that's so nice of them.
It was, yeah.
What
Well,
a grift.
it is a good grift. I have to agree. But then again, keep in mind the only ones that were actually murdered were the Russian royalty and the French. The rest of them are still there in the shadow,
Oh,
I
what
mean,
about the Japanese?
oh, they're still there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Still got an emperor, right?
Oh yeah.
Same thing. It's like a ceremonial spot. It's not really a.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the Tenno of Japan is more like a priest king,
Mm-hmm.
really. The feeling is a bit different than just king, but still. I actually saw him and his wife once at, I don't know, 100 yards, not even
Oh,
50
yeah.
yards. Yeah.
Hmm.
He was walking around entourage amongst his people, which he can do without dying, so that's a good thing.
Well,
But
that's good.
yeah, I saw him at a distance. My wife was very excited. I said, "Why? He's very little. He's got to be like, I don't know, 3'8".
Oh,
Really?
come on.
Well, no, okay, I'm 4'8", then 4'9".
Oh, that's probably pretty tall over there. No, man, you're probably right.
Yeah, he is a midget.
Average.
Yeah. And not to be
So I
mean,
guess
but
you still
he and his wife's only daughter, which is a problem. So when he renounces or dies, because the old emperor's still alive, by the way, he renounced and his son took over. But when he renounces or dies, it's going to pass to his brother, because he doesn't have a male heir. They only have a daughter, and not only is she one of the ugliest creatures I've ever seen in my life, she's a nasty little thing. And I guarantee you, they're not happy about that, because they're all about decorum. That's decorum level 3000 with the royalty in Japan, right? And she's a nasty little modern girl. She studied in Britain.
Oh
I
no.
was gonna say, how nasty?
No, she's for Japanese.
not the
She's
good
pretty
kind of
wicked
nasty.
nasty. She side eyes everything. She looks down at everything. She's so much better than you, dude. Oh my god.
Oh,
Not full
backhand
on
nasty.
slag like British slag, but pretty bad, dude. And they kind of, because they know she can't take the throne, and she really wanted to marry this He's Japanese, but he spent most of his life in Europe, and he's just a con artist. Everybody in the country
Mm.
knows, the family knows, everyone knows he just wants to get close to the royal family, except her.
J-
But they
Oh
kind of were
dear.
like, yeah, okay, marry him and leave. And she did. It's kind
Did
of like
she? That's just like
Merkel
I
and
already read.
Harry. They're in exile in a way.
Mm.
I don't blame them with the Prince
No,
Andrew stuff.
especially for Japan, man. You don't do that. Especially if you're, because they're a symbol of the holy spirit, the godly spirit of Japan. Because I told you they're priest kings, and
Right.
oh my goodness, he created such a scandal.
No,
Hmm.
no, notorious.
But them Western schools, them universities.
I'm sure they must have been good at some point.
Oh, well, I went to Brown, in the 80s, and
Well,
And he turned out normal.
yeah,
yeah, mostly.
well, there was
Fucking
some
brown
woke
doofy.
stuff. I mean, it is university. I mean, let's be fair. But it wasn't so bad. The most annoying thing to those of us in the graduate program uh, was there was a girl who was in, and it wasn't that it was a girl. It was that she was dumb as a box of bricks, but yet somehow she was getting her doctorate,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
you know. That
Hmm.
was the only woke thing I saw that was annoying, and it really had nothing to do with her being a girl because there were like what there was 8 of us, I guess, in that class of doctorates, and
Now,
she
was that
was
woke or just
Nepotism.
slutty?
I don't know, I'm not sure,
Nepotism.
but I mean every one of us went on to do stuff. I actually did the least of the 8, to be fair.
Oh wow!
I mean one
How
of
many
them.
buildings
You're
were
a
named
king of
after the
Malta.
parent?
Yeah, but no, they went on to big stuff, dude. One of the guys is basically in charge of the British Museum.
Oh,
Another
well, that's not
guy
a king of Malta.
actually works in actually the actual Cairo Museum, and I forgive him for that. Um,
Not
um,
his fault.
no, they're all working in big stuff, dude. One of the guys is not in charge, but he's like the kind of sub boss for the Van Lyck stuff that's going on right now. A couple of professors, yeah, those guys all went on to stuff. I'm the least of
Chester,
it.
do they have their own fertility shrine on a mountain?
No, they don't. So they can suck it. You're
Okay.
right.
Yeah, I think you're the winner here.
No, I'm
Mhm.
just being honest. They did more than I did.
Yeah, but you sound more fun.
Maybe
Mhm.
well, I definitely was more fun. That's fair. But no, my answer would be it wasn't like that in the 80s. No.
Mm.
In the 80s, you only had to worry about leftover hippies.
And there were, I mean, it's university, dude. You're going to get progressivism.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just good. It is. But no, there was a lot of heritage and legacy and all
Mm.
that kind of stuff was really important, right? At that to
Mhm.
them. And these days they don't. They seem to, that stuff seems to be for sale.
Nepotism.
Well, extreme nepotism or just greed.
Mhm.
It is bad, dude.
Mm.
It's unfortunate.
Oh, the grades match however many buildings your parents' names are on.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, keep in mind with Brown and of course Harvard, they were built by Cambridge and Oxford to be their sister representation in the colonies, right? They have actual
Interesting.
serious heritage, right?
Mm.
I mean, keep in
Cool.
mind Cambridge is more than 800 years old.
Huh. So if you just have enough reputation and your money doesn't run out, can you pretty much get a degree there if you just, don't quit?
When
Or
I was
do
young,
you?
no. When I was
Okay.
young, no. Now, was there nepotism where they had like legacy people and if someone bought like a new library, built a new library or something? Probably. but it wasn't
Mhm.
in your face at all. These days, you can just buy it. Yeah.
Mm,
But when I was
And back in
there,
the
it was not like that, at least openly.
back in the yeah, back in the day, the money might get your foot in the door, but you still had to
You had to earn it.
do stuff. Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Once you were in, you had to prove that you were supposed to be there.
Well,
Mhm.
I had to,
Okay.
with my PhDs, I had to write 3 books for those.
3 books.
Yeah, well, that's how you get a PhD outside of being a medical doctor.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
If you want to get your art PhD, you have to do shows.
Is that okay?
You have
I
to do
don't know the
yeah.
arts. Yeah. Well,
On the art
technically,
side, you have
I'm
to
in the arts
typically
as well,
do
history, right?
yeah. You typically have
So
to
That's why
do like you have to
colleges
put
always
on some
have
sort of
goofy
gallery
art
shows.
everywhere.
Maybe that's a good
so
point. Yeah, I didn't know
That's
that.
why there was always like crazy sculptures in college towns because it's like leftovers from all those art shows.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I had no idea. But a lot of whether they be on the science side or they be on the art side, because I would be on the art side, right? Which is weird because it's science. I'm an anthropologist, but whatever.
right.
But most of those, it does involve publishing. Like if you want to get
Hmm.
your master's, you have to present a thesis paper, right? And if
Okay.
you want to get your doctorate, you have to be published. And that book, not only that, well, at least when I was there, that book has to be reviewed by a board, and they have to
Mhm.
approve it, saying yes, this is worthy of a doctorate, right?
Okay. So there's no chance of kind of slight in there.
No, no. Like I said, I
Well,
don't
you
really
could
know what it's like now, but when I was there, it was serious business. Um, you know,
Okay.
but one of my things is anthrogenetics, particularly I specializing in Rh negative migration.
Mhm.
But that one was kind of easier because it's just all science data,
Right.
right? You wouldn't enjoy reading it, Amy.
Well, I'm sure it's
Yeah.
interesting,
No, it's really
but
but
not.
when
It's just
whenever
charts,
you have people in the mix, so you have a board, right? And that
right?
board has to give you right a yay or a nay, and you have to
Right.
have enough of the board
Yeah.
to justify it.
Mhm.
So there's always an opportunity to grease the wheels when there's people involved that way.
No, well, that's fair. But I didn't
Mhm.
have any grease for any wheels.
Right. No, there was definitely an
I was
idea back in the
scholarship kid,
day
dude.
of
I didn't have it.
no, but there was definitely idea of the honor of this of education and
Sure.
learning, and it was taken more seriously. It probably would have been harder to bribe back in the day
Yeah.
than compared to what it is today. You
You
know.
would think so, and it's
Ex-
also when I was there, which seems to be very different than now. And like I said, I was in Boston, right? So that's a college town. Harvard's there, MIT, and I knew a lot of kids from those schools, and we had like a kind of a fun little rivalry. We would do
Mhm.
skull races in the middle of the night, as you do. But at that time, the pride of your school was a thing.
Mhm.
I mean, we literally would sit. There was this little place. It's literally called Hole in the Wall, and it was underneath
Mhm.
an old overpass, literally underneath it,
Okay.
and it was the best pizza in Boston.
Holden Wall pizza.
And it was really good pizza, and they had cheap pitchers of beer, so all the college kids went there.
Great in
And
college town.
it was
Mhm.
great. It was an amazing place. And all us kids, college kids,
Mhm.
from Harvard, MIT, Boston College, Boston University, the Conservatory, Brown,
Mhm.
etc. Well, they would go in there and we'd hang out because none of us, well, some of us had money, but a lot of us didn't have a lot of money, right? And we'd
Right.
sit in there and drink, and we'd literally sing our college song again, as in if it were a competition. I know it's lame, but it was cool.
No.
It was fun then.
It was
That's
fun.
that's the story of New England colleges that don't have football.
Yeah. Hi.
Because down south we do football, and that's your pride of your school.
That's true.
Yeah,
No,
I went to a school with no football, so I get it.
no. We had the we had the Brown Bears. Thank you very much.
Woo! Terminators.
No, the only sport we talked about in Boston was the Bruins.
Yeah,
The
college
Bruins?
hockey a little bit, right? But
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Up
That's
there,
about
yeah.
it, though. Yeah. No, we weren't sports peoples. No. But yeah, it was. I know it sounds lame, but it was a lot of fun. These days, it seems like they've abandoned that completely, though. The pride of your school, pride in your school.
Pride doesn't mean anything except absolute debauchery.
Well, we had a
When
little
you
bit of
find out
that
that you're
too. Thank you very much. The
when
cardigan.
you find out that your school.
Don't judge the cardigan, Amy.
Oh no! Did you wear the cardigan with the letter on it?
Well, I mean,
With your little
you're
your
required
flat
to
hat?
at certain
Like,
situations.
23 skidoo, fellas. Let's go dancing.
When the
Meet
Glee
some
Club is
dames.
singing, you have to have the cardigan. Okay?
Where are those dames at?
I wish that were true. I wasn't part of the Glee Club. That would have been funny if that were true, though. But we did have Glee Club.
Barbershop quartet all the way.
Hey, I like barbershop quartets, dude. They're pretty good.
Let's go to the ice cream parlor.
That does sound like a good time.
But I'm just trying to make a point
bring
that
your best girl for a malt.
Right.
It was like Captain America.
Right. But I mean,
Look at that.
I
Let's
feel
go to the
like
Science
it was
Central.
Riverdale.
the pride in one school and legacy is lost. Is my point.
People tell me that Archie Andrews is a player.
The only pride they teach now is in debauchery.
Oh well, that's a different type of pride, isn't it? And they get a whole month.
We can blame that on Archie Andrews with his
Poor
two
Columbus
girlfriends.
only gets a day.
His fancy hot rod cars.
Alpha
His
Pro.
burger eating
The
friend.
Bears, dude. That's Chicago. I'm talking about the Brown Bears. That's our mascot.
They're also the Bears.
We are the Bears.
They're
Yeah.
the Bears.
You
Bruin
talk
is a
about
bear.
the football team in Chicago, right? And an old was that Saturday Night Live skit? It had the guy from Cheers in it, right? Norm.
Yes.
R.I.P.
Yep.
He just passed away. Yeah.
Did he?
Oh, you know who else passed
Yeah, George
away?
Wendt.
Yeah.
Lumpy passed away. Chewbacca's kid.
Oh
What?
well,
Former girlfriend of Gilligan from Gilligan's Island.
I missed that news.
Lumpy Baca.
Or
Yeah.
the duck guy too.
Who
Oh,
died?
Yeah,
Who
Howard
died?
the Duck is
Dynasty
gone.
guy.
The
all
guy
the
who
little
did
people
Howard. Oh
died
yeah,
this
the little
week.
guy. Yeah, no, he did a lot of stuff, dude.
In one of the three storms from Big Trouble in Little China.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow, dude.
Yeah,
That
all
was
the little
such
people
a
died
cool
this week.
movie, dude.
That is a great movie.
Yeah,
Those
it is.
actors today.
What was that, Alan?
It was all like the like C tier actors died.
Yeah.
Attacking
Yeah.
each other.
All the guys are like, that's that guy.
Right.
Yeah, that's that guy.
But,
Who
I
died?
mean-
Oh, it's that guy.
I mean, come on. Big Trouble
Yeah,
in
that guy
Little
from that
China is
film.
one of the coolest movies of all time, dude. I mean, come on.
He was one of the three, the one with the back scratchers of Doom.
Yeah. That guy. Yeah. The one that got
Raiden,
mad
I'm
and
pretty
blew
sure
up.
Raiden exists.
What?
Yeah.
No, that was the big one that blew up. That was the Raiden Lightning guy. This was the other Lightning guy that had the like back scratchers.
Oh yeah. The other one was
Like
like
really
Thunder.
sharp
The one that was
forks.
Raiden was Thunder.
You're right.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, the three of them, right?
Yeah.
The three storms.
Yeah.
Alpha Proto says, why do the New England people identify with the 1920s so much? I remember Conan O'Brien always making 1920 through 40 jokes, and he is from New
'Cause
England.
that's where they're from.
It's just us. I mean, we're Yankees, I guess.
On I thought you
It
said
is
it.
pretty funny. It is
On your
pretty funny.
raccoon jacket, fellas.
The 20s were a good time, There were a lot of good things going on.
They were roaring.
They were
roaring
roaring,
20s.
indeed.
Yeah, from that time, I mean, that's where, Northeast, that's where the hub of American culture was at the time.
was.
The Betty's
California
and the
was
Boots.
nothing compared to what it is,
No.
now.
No, it wasn't. That's right.
Oh, and
and
that,
of course the Yankees.
made up
Go ahead.
accent. That made up accent too. That made it to all the movies. So it was like a made up accent that was still developed there.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and you got to keep in mind the Yankee ingenuity is what really kicked off the Industrial Revolution, right? And at that time, the Yankees were still running high, and then of course you had the Forge. Keep in mind we used to call it the Forge. Now we call it the Rust Belt. It's for a reason, guys, right? But because at that time it was still kicking. You understand that America didn't have much of a military. We weren't a world power at that time, but boy, howdy, we were producing. We were the manufacturers of the
stuff.
world. We were rich. We were kicking.
So we used to make things.
Oh my goodness, we were the manufacturing capital of the world, for sure.
Mhm.
That's
Coal
kind
was
of
king.
And it's that collaboration between the Yankees and the Forge. They're the ones that did all that. And now you can break America into 9 cultural sectors today. But they didn't all exist at that point. You got to understand, a lot of them are new. Like at this same time, you're talking about the 1920s. You had a bunch of New York bankers that decided to go down to southern Florida and build their own little city, and the Seminole Indians laughed at them. So you can't build nothing there. Of course, we call it Miami.
kind of worked.
Well, I'm just saying that a lot of our
Just a
America
bunch of
in the past
Cubans
100
did.
years became America, right?
They laughed at Will Smith and he wrote Miami.
Yeah, yeah. And like for instance, a lot of the western states or big mega cities, like say Houston, they only exist because of the invention of air conditioning.
Boy, I'll
Yeah.
say.
Yeah,
Refrigeration, yeah.
yeah. They could not exist before that. So a huge swath of what we kind of see as standard America did not exist 100 years ago. It just didn't.
I guess that's why people would put up with those winters if it meant not having to go through the summers. Because I heard they invented air conditioning because some of the printing press, so the ink on like prints wouldn't set if it got too hot. So like we got to find some way to fix this. And the guy managed to figure out how to. Here, I made a thing that can cool down a room. Nice. Wait, you did what?
Well, that was why Hollywood went to California, was because the weather was more agreeable than New York.
Yep.
Mm.
All those vaudeville Jews, man, they were like, "Hey, I have an idea and money." And then a big war came up and knocked out the cinema leaders, France and Germany, and they were sitting pretty.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, it was because New York, you have horrible humidity, and you would paint a set, and that set would literally melt.
Oh no.
Whereas California, you have like nice temperate, even weather.
Dry.
It's predictable.
It's very dry. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's true.
You know
Yeah,
what the
but
weather's going to be like.
the past 100 years, the growth in America has been ridiculous. What we've
Mhm.
added, because even back in 1920, guys, I do believe Buffalo Bill was still doing his show.
And airplanes were made of paper.
That's right.
Now we have spaceships, rockets.
I'm
the
pretty sure.
moon.
I got to check that. I'm pretty sure Buffalo Bill was still doing his thing in the 20s, wasn't he? Or at least
Probably.
some memory of it was still going on.
He still would have been alive at that point, or around that time. Because what we think of as Buffalo Bill is like the 1890s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We're just
kinda-
confused by it because
someone was saying there was
Western.
it
Yep,
would be possible.
Just before 1920, like 1918. And his very last tour began in 1914. So there you go. So it lasted a couple
Wow.
years, and then he passed away shortly after. But also, if you look at our history, the 1920s is still considered kind of the end of the Old West. That period.
Mhm.
Like the Wild Bunch, which is a Western
Wild Bunch,
movie,
yep.
is set in that period, right?
Well, you know what else is kind of in that period, but they portray it as earlier, is Young Guns.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's certainly much later with the William Bonney stuff.
That was the end of the West at that point.
The Cattle Wars, yeah, that was
Cattle
huge.
Wars, yeah.
Mhm.
and all that train stuff was really in a very tight little space. The train robberies was
Yeah.
not even a decade. A lot of stuff, and the Indian Wars was a very tight little space with the cavalry stuff and Custer and all that. It was tight as well.
I didn't
Except
think
for
of
you're
it
talking
that
about the
way.
French Indian War, but that's totally different. That had nothing to do with Indians. Well, it didn't.
Indians or
That was the British and the French battling each other,
Mm.
and that was kicked
We
off
were
because there was
fighting
this
for the
young.
curry.
Well, there was a young officer who was was a cartographer, and he was sent on a little mission, and he came across they were kind of not at war, but not friendly, the French and the English. He came across an encampment of French and said, "Charge, kill them all!" And of course, kicked off the French Indian War. His name was George Washington. Yeah,
Oh dear.
he's the asshole that started that. And he got reprimanded for it too, because he wasn't supposed to do that, but he thought he was going to be a hero. You see.
Mm-hmm. Maybe don't start guns a-blazing.
That's
Yeah,
when
I'm
he
just
was
saying we
still a
call it.
redcoat.
Well, we call it the French Indian War, but that's a misnomer. It's the English-French War, colonial
The
war.
Indians were just hanging out with them. They were
Well,
helping
they
them
had
out.
their Indian friends, and we had ours. And
Well, they
Yeah,
knew the
those
lay of
two,
the land.
they did. Yeah.
those two nations fought over what's essentially Canada for quite a long time.
Well, and that's how we got Benedict Arnold. He screwed up, lost Canada, and then of course, he lost a lot of opportunity. Everyone was mad at him, and he became more and more bitter, and then betrayed us to the royalists, right?
Yep.
Mm.
Some bitch.
Some bitch. That's right.
My oh my.
Well, isn't it interesting how
You'll know.
everything's connected, though? Now, we had a chance to take Canada in the 1812 war, to be fair, but I don't even, I'm not sure how we won that, because we didn't really. I mean, the British came back in 1812 and basically handed us our ass over and over and over again. I don't know how it ended up that they just went back home. I don't know. I don't get it.
I think
They had
still that
naval power, but they didn't have land power.
Yeah, but
There was,
they
they're missing
hammered
tea
the hell
time.
out of us, dude.
I think it was just too hard for them to maintain such a
Maybe.
long,
Right.
fight
Yeah,
after coming out of
months.
our Revolutionary War, committing
Mhm.
so many things all the way across the ocean. And I
Right.
think the British people were pretty pissed off at, like, why are we, we just fought this. Why are we fighting again?
And you got
Yeah,
the French
we're
stuff
done.
kicking off and all that trouble as well,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
You need
But
reinforcements. That's going to be 6 months for them to arrive. So
yeah,
Yep.
but you got to keep in mind, there's a reason we don't talk about the 1812 war, because it's not really very shiny for us. Now, we did get one thing out of that war that has maintained and proceeded into our modern times, and of course, that's the
Charlton Heston.
absolute British tearing apart of one of our forts. And in the morning, when the sun rose and we saw that the flag was still there, because it was being held up by hundreds of dead bodies that had clamored to it to keep it up. And they were like, "Oh, right, well, that's a little bit much for us," and the British left. We call it Star Spangled Banner.
Mm-hmm.
So,
They're kind of like, we need to go now.
well, there's a telling of that. It's like a journal entry, telling of that event that led to the writing of the song, and it's narrated by who's that guy that always does like the kind of standard American cowboy voice?
Robert Mitchum,
No, it's like he's a
Ron
narrator.
Wayne.
He's super famous.
I think it's
Sam
Sam.
Elliott?
I think it's Sam.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna
I
say
think
Sam
talking about
Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
And I don't know. Is it Sam Elliott? I think it was an older like radio
He was the
guy.
narrator.
I feel like if it's a book narrator, Jeff would probably know.
Well, whoever it was, you can go find that video on YouTube, and it's basically just telling the journal entry of the guy who wrote the Star Spangled Banner's his eyewitness report of it, and he tells it with that great, trustworthy American voice.
There
And
you go.
it'll bring
SNLA.
a tear to your eye. If you don't cry at the end of that, you ain't human.
Francis Scott Key.
Was the cowboy and the
He's,
dude?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's buried
No.
right beside the poet, the Raven,
Goodwin?
Edgar Allan
Edgar
Poe.
Allan Poe.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
They're in the same little churchyard
Oh,
in Baltimore.
wow.
But I mean, it's worth watching, especially if you're American. I say actually if you're not American, because I've traveled around the world for a long time, guys, and in country in America, no one asks why the flag is up. We know, but a lot of people around the world are like, why you guys love your flag so much? Go watch that, and you'll understand why we love that damn flag.
Because it looks
Mhm.
cool.
It is cool, but it
It
also
is also people's flag, but
it is beautiful. The story behind it is beautiful, especially for us older guys. We were still in, I still remember doing the Pledge of Allegiance every day. Do they
Oh,
do
yeah.
that anymore?
I don't know.
probably. I don't know.
We praise Cthulhu every morning at school now.
Oh, well, that's
Mm.
probably true. I heard San Francisco has decided that, we don't need tests anymore. We don't need homework. We don't need anything like that. All they need to do is get 21 on their final exam, and you graduate.
Well, why not just give them a test and say, hey, if you get 1 out of 5 of these right,
That's
you
what they
graduate
did.
for the year.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And they think they're
We can't
helping.
prove it. How does
No,
that
they
help?
know what they're doing.
They do.
They're
Yeah.
selling it as help. They know exactly what they're doing.
It is infuriating, Mike. I'm an educator. I don't know if I mentioned it.
Yeah, we
Right.
know. We heard. I heard a rumor about that.
I was told you couldn't even read.
I know. Well, I struggle
That's
through it.
Holy moly.
I struggle through it. But I just couldn't believe it. And there's people trying to justify it, and it's like, you realize
You're
you're
not.
hurting these kids. And it's worse than that. Keep in mind, where they won't mention the demographic that is struggling. We know the demographic that's
Mhm.
struggling, right? But the worst thing they've done is in California. This is all of California, not just San Francisco, by the way.
Mm.
Because certain
Way to go, Alan.
certain classes, certain studies are just too difficult for a certain demographic, that instead of
Mhm.
non-requiring
here.
it, they just cut them. So the kids who do enjoy study and want to do something greater in life can no longer study algebra 2, trigonometry, geometry,
What?
calculus. Yeah, they're just gone. They're gone from the
What are they
curriculum.
learning?
That's their solution. Well, they're learning how,
Shop?
2 + 2 is 5, you see.
That's not
I just had to
And
describe
that
an
math
orange
is
to graduate.
racist.
Math is racist.
It is. I totally agree.
Those damn Arabs and
Math
Indians
totally favors those Asian kids.
in their numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about all those Korean kids. It's like they've rigged it.
Yeah.
They rigged math.
Jabra, more like Sharpton.
But it's just pure insanity. It's like it's almost as if it were a joke.
I mean, I could see if you wanted to say, all right, you can either take some of the higher maths and some sciences
Yeah,
and things like that
sure.
for academic, or take something like shop or mechanics or
Sure.
something that might prepare you for a different career path. Like if you
But-
want to go into engineering, take the maths. If you want to
Right.
go into like construction or something like that,
But
take
that
something with more
would
technical
upset
skills.
that certain unnamed demographic. They might feel bad.
Well, what's wrong with working with your hands and making an honest living that way? That's not a bad career
I don't
choice.
think you understand the unnamed demographic. They
Oh.
get upset and very emotional for nothing.
Oh,
What does that have to
Bad
do with Tarzan?
things happen when they get angry. You can't have that.
Especially at airports.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. So entitled.
oh my goodness.
My wife likes those
Women.
videos, by the way, Alan.
Women.
She's a
Math is
little
hard.
really sweet Japanese lady But even from her point of view, and she says they're like animals. I was like, yes, dear.
That's
Fatigue is real.
Yeah, man, ghetto
that's not
fatigue, dude.
healthy.
It's real, man.
Ghetto fatigue.
I've been hearing that phrase being in circulation recently.
Yeah, like okay, we're
Sure.
done with this nonsense.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are saying black fatigue, but that's not an accurate term. It should be ghetto
No.
because
Yeah,
it's
I
sure
agree
there's
with you.
plenty of black people doing it, ghetto blacks, but there's ghetto whites and yellows and reds. There's all kind of ghetto. It comes in
It's
all
that
colors
culture.
all over the world. It's not
Yeah.
specific.
The
Elvis
blacks are
was
just
from
the
the
ones on
ghetto.
camera right now.
Well, no, he sang about someone he saw from the ghetto whilst he sat in his gold-plated car. You see,
He was from the ghetto.
from the
Was
ghetto.
Tupelo,
Mush-
man. Tupelo, Mississippi.
Ghetto.
West Memphis. Born and raised, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if we've ever done an
On the
Elvis night.
playground is where I spend most of my days.
What would you draw from
Oh, Elvis night would be
Elvis?
interesting.
Bikinis?
Oh, we
Captain
don't
Marvel
draw
Jr.
Like a
Elvis.
leather suit.
Don't do it.
What I
do the
draw if I was
big
Elvis, I
Hawaiian.
draw a clam bake.
No, that's the
A
clam
banana
bake's very
sandwich.
New England
Vegas
thing,
Elvis.
dude. Now, come on.
Clam bake, baby.
You could
Draw
do Kung
I
Fu
draw
Stitch
water
Elvis.
Elvis's
skiing
jumpsuit.
and car racing.
Listen. I saw Melissa in here earlier, but I don't see her now. Is she drawing?
I'll see someone.
Well, I mean,
Well-
she's still sitting here drawing right next to me, so I guess Discord just went, nah, I'm good.
I'm going to see
That
if I can't get
happens.
through.
Yeah.
Besides, you get some sweet peanut butter pickle sandwiches.
Ooh.
I'm going to Fluffernutter. Get it flown in from Las Vegas every night.
Here, man.
Well, I'm about to get it an earthquake, so if I go out, I apologize.
Yeah. You could do Johnny
What?
Bravo. Whoa, wait. Oh,
Johnny Bravo.
I
Great.
guarantee Alan would draw him dying on the toilet.
He would.
Yep.
Poor Elvis.
We doing Elvis night in August to celebrate his death day or birthday? Death day, right?
Ooh.
August.
January.
his birthday's
Birthday is
January, too.
January 8th is when he's born. His death day is August 15th.
We could do that an Elvis night.
Elvis night.
That'd be good.
Next week we have a special
Elvis
guest.
Carum.
Next week,
We have
we
a
thought we
special
were
guest.
doing Howard.
No, that's the
Yes,
week
yes,
after
I'm
that. We
coming.
do George Perez, but next week we are going to do Solarian's Son with Andrew Fleming.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Where is
Yay,
Andrew?
He'll be here next week, I believe. His
Sweet.
Kickstarter
Aw.
launched on Wednesday, and the
Hey, Pablo.
yeah.
And he's calling us nerds. Fine. Be like that, Pablo.
You don't know what a nerd is, man. Don't make me karate chop you.
Judo
Yeah.
chop, baby.
Elvis probably did
I
that.
feel like
a
peanut butter banana sandwich.
Ooh.
You know
Yeah,
that
actually,
Elvis
Alpha
made
Proto, I
fun of
love
his
doing that
look.
kind of stuff. He's talking about if you listen to super early phonograph recordings from like the late 1800s, they talk with a mid-Atlantic accent. They do. So it couldn't have just been a made-up accent. It was standardized accent for films, though. Yeah, no, it was. But also keep in mind at that time, there also was a huge amount of French being spoken in America.
Really?
And such
A lot, yeah. Matter of fact, there was such an enamorment with the French that pretty much any restaurant you would go into, the menu would be written in French. I have actually sought out and researched menus of the
What's this escargot,
1800s.
man?
And
Is it like
I
peanut
know
butter?
I'm a nerd. I apologize. But
That's all right by me there, Mama.
yeah, they're
I
all in
think I'll have
French.
that escargot. It sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
See, so with this crowd I'm with, I don't think anyone would think 1800s menus would be interesting, huh?
No, I
No?
think it's interesting.
No,
That's all right, Mama.
no.
It really
Not
depends
unless,
on
not unless
the
Carson was eating
area.
those.
As long as I got bacon
Or
on the
Johnny
ice
Carson.
cream, we're good.
Okay.
Aha.
I'm going to guess then eating out wasn't as common back
Oh
then
no,
as it is now.
it was just the same as it is now.
Until the 70s. Am I right,
Really?
boys? Oh, sorry.
Oh. Dun-dun-dun.
In the cities, it was more common, maybe now than it is now. To be fair.
Am I right, boys? No, just kidding.
Goodness gracious.
Rough crowd tonight. Rough crowd. Tip your waiters and waiters.
Oh, hey, rough crowd. Hey.
Oh,
They're in
hey,
England. They speak
whoa.
French.
Now they're doing Andrew Dice Clay.
Hear what the French call
Oh,
les
okay.
compétents.
Yes. You know, actually, Andrew had a couple of movies I rather liked.
I'll have a royal with cheese there, Mama.
Face Puncher, a love story. Love that one. And Fort Fairlane wasn't bad either. No,
You know, on Elvis Night, you can draw Nick Cage as Elvis too.
you can't.
Oh,
Tiny
man.
Elvis.
Oh,
He's
and
Tiny Elvis.
Bruce Campbell.
Oh man, it's huge.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell.
Kurt Russell.
Well,
Look at that.
Kurt
Look at that
Russell, yeah.
pencil.
you
That's
could do Bruno
huge.
Mars too.
That's another tiny E.
Here's what you do on Elvis Night: is you draw Captain Marvel Jr. because Elvis
That's what I
was
said
a-
earlier.
Yeah, he was a huge fan and modeled a bunch of his jumpsuits and
Yep.
hairstyle after Captain Marvel Jr. from Fawcett.
Really, I did not know that.
Yes. If you
Yep.
look at all of his
I mean-
suits, it's Captain Marvel all over.
Any little boy growing up in Memphis in 1953 reading them Captain Marvel comics, baby. We learned to
The
read.
cape,
Or
the
Scylla.
cape is spot on.
Looking for
His
Scylla.
cape.
Yeah.
Go
Well,
look at his
yeah.
capes, Chester. They're exactly like Captain Marvel.
No, I just never thought of it before, dude. I never thought about
Yeah.
it. You're right.
Alex
Huge,
Ross's
huge
original character design to do updated Captain Marvel Jr. was him in like an Elvis costume
though. Really?
Mhm.
That's interesting.
with the chops and everything. Yeah, that was great.
Nice.
Alpha Proto is
Yep.
over here talking about that news that came out with that girl. It's I think she's going to Boston College, was it? And they did an interview with her, and she's literally in college. And Boston College isn't a little one, by the way; it's a pretty big college. And she can't read. She
Was
Mhm.
it the one suing her?
Yeah,
high
she's
school?
suing illiterate.
Oh,
Now, how?
Common.
should.
Here's the thing: how did she get into college? Would be the
College.
question.
That is the wonders of the policy passed underneath the juniors administration called No Child Left Behind.
Oh well, we don't
And
talk about June.
that is called ramming them right through the system, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but that's outrageous, dude. I mean, come on.
Do you,
I mean,
do you remember the
Yeah, you can only
scandal
hold back a
few years
kid like
ago
1
about
year now.
wow.
the Hollywood moms that were paying for their kids to get into college and
Mhm.
doing it all?
Mhm.
When was that?
That's how you
And
do.
Becky.
Yep. So there was it's a group of Hollywood moms that were
Yeah.
scamming, right? And they were filling
Aunt
out
Becky.
forms. They were literally
Yeah.
everything but taking the SATs, probably even taking the SAT.
Aunt Becky.
When was
and
that?
so
And Becky.
that's how they're doing it. That was
10 years
It was
ago?
before Fuller House came out
2015,
because she wasn't on the
2016.
show because of that.
Okay. Now,
Like she wasn't on the Full House reunion because of that, because that news hit right before that.
I recalled.
Yeah, it was like 2015, 16.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
not good. But I recall back in the early '80s that the SAT, I think in the West they call it the AP maybe, but the SAT test. If you had 400 on each, so a total of 800, you could get into like community college or like some of the lower state colleges, which was pretty low. That is pretty low, right? That's like 50%, right? But I understand now with SAT scores that the average is below that, which is insane.
I would imagine.
That's insane, dude.
the average is
Do they even
below.
give that?
The average is below an 800, yeah.
That's
Do they even
crazy.
give it anymore?
I don't
I
know.
Well, have you
saw,
seen
I
the
saw a study
statistics
on
of
it,
where
so
we
they must
stand?
be. Yeah.
They
Have you-
still
have
do
you
it, but
seen-
not all colleges require it anymore.
Right.
Insane, dude.
Have you seen though, Chester? I saw the statistics on this a couple months ago about the absolute just destruction of our education system since the implementation of the the Department of Education, and every year
Yeah,
since
I saw
its
that.
establishment, our education has only gone one direction, straight down. And so they fudge numbers because you can't make it obvious unless you have a brain where you can read the charts and see the facts right in front of your face. But the rest of them go, oh, no, we changed this to make it better. You didn't change anything to make it better. I mean, look at your medicine caps. You can't even open a medicine cap because, well, people might hurt and poison themselves because they don't know how to parent their children.
Yeah, no, it's a problem, dude. And that course Board of Education with Jimmy Carter, 1979, I think.
Yeah.
And luckily I missed the beginning of the bad with that for the most part. Although I do recall in high school, they introduced the concept of the bell curve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although they've gone way beyond that now. But I mean, another problem we have, I think, isn't just the education. It's more insidious. Like for instance, I've seen, and or Alan, of course, made a reference to it, situations where people are on a plane and they have been told to get off the plane and they refuse. So instead of the cop just snatching them up and dragging them off the damn plane, they have to deplane everybody else before.
You are seeing the net result of a child never being told no.
Yeah, but I understand what you're with that aspect.
That is
Of
the
course, I
cultural.
understand
That is
that.
the
Everyone gets a trophy. I get that, but it's deeper, right? Because
no. That's what I'm
it's
saying, though. Is Chester, what I'm trying. I'm sorry to interrupt. I apologize, but what I'm trying to say to you is, yes, I understand what you're getting at, but the cultural and let's just say it this way, the programming of your mind. These children are now all adults, okay?
Yeah.
They were never punished. Oh, we'll redirect you. You didn't redirect anything. You gave them their way.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
putting time out, so
Timeout means nothing.
Well,
That
I've
is
seen.
absolute
Go to your
racist.
room
And
with your
so
TP.
I was
because
Think about it.
Mike. I was going to make the
you've
comparison.
instituted these people to think that they're always right, no matter
Yeah,
what.
no.
And I'm not. It doesn't
No.
matter. I've seen it with all these kids. It's horrible.
It is horrible, and I was going to juxtapose that to the fact that I've seen elementary school situations where a kid is throwing a tantrum, and instead of calling the vice principal, because that's usually the disciplinarian, right, coming in, snatching that kid out, take him down the office, they remove all the other kids into the hallway and wait for the tantrum to end.
Well, that's new to me.
It's back assward, dude. It's just like the
Yeah.
airplane thing. And to add on to what you're saying, Mike, one of the most absolutely abominable things I've ever seen these progressives do, because they get blamed for a lot of stuff, and of course the whole COVID stuff was pretty nasty what happened. But one of the worst things I've ever seen them do in regard to children is they by a manner of, I would say, systematically doing it, telling children that they are special.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst thing you could ever say to a child.
You know who would never say that?
Me.
Tarzan.
Tarzan wouldn't. Tarzan would kick him in the head. But no, you should never tell a child that. What you should say is being special is very hard, and you should work very hard to try to be special. That's what you should do. But you're not special yet. It takes effort. But
Well, I've told all my kids they're special. Special ed.
That's fine. You know what I mean, Eric. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, I said
up.
it years ago when they started giving narcotics to kids. I was like, this is going to end bad. And then 10 years later, all those kids, what are they doing? Shooting up schools. It's like, yep. Because as soon as they turned 18, they couldn't get their drugs anymore, and now they're having meltdowns. It's like, yeah, that's you.
And he's
created
not talking
a
about
generation
illegal
of
drugs.
drug
He's talking
addicts
about
and
pharmaceuticals,
violent criminals.
Yeah, that's what.
No, those are drugs. Dude, it's narcotics.
Ironic, they're shooting up narcotics too.
Yeah. No, I mean when we were younger, The only school shooting I ever heard about was the refractory one at that university in California, right? Berkeley, was it? That guy who was up in the
The
tower.
Texas one. That
Oh
was
yeah.
Texas, right?
That's Austin.
Texas,
Rockstar.
Texas,
Yeah.
Texas,
UT.
Texas.
Yeah.
He
That's
was
the
a
only
Kurt
one.
Marine.
Russell.
He was a former
That was
Marine.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah, what Kurt Russell. But that's the only one I'd ever heard of. I never heard of any school getting shot up other than that. Now it's a regular occurrence. So
Well,
something
Columbine made it
changed. Something changed,
Yeah.
right?
And it's not
Yeah, they
guns.
turned
Because
everything
guns
into a drug addict.
were just as prolific back then, if not more.
Oh, sure.
Many more, yeah.
Yeah.
They were in
So
every
much.
household at that point.
hmm
Yeah. How many dads came home from the war, brought their service revolver or
Mhm.
whatever with
Yep.
them? Here, Junior, I'm going to show you how to shoot cans in the backyard, and
Mhm.
it was fine.
Well, some of the
Old Ted
places
was
I
right.
went as a kid, because my family was military, I traveled around. And some of those places, like every damn car had a rifle in the back window of the truck.
I grew up in a rural state where, when it was deer hunting season, kids would show up to school. You got your
Yeah.
your hunting rifle and your gun rack in
Oh,
the
sure.
back because you're going after school
Oh,
or
yeah.
before
No.
school.
When I was a kid, I had a pocket knife in my pocket. Of course, I was a Boy Scout. I bet you
Yeah.
can't do that now.
Oh, look at you.
Mm-mm.
What'd you do with the pocket knife? Oh.
Excuse me. They're badges to be gut, Amy.
Well, yeah, you do need the badges.
It's true.
Don't need no
Don't need no
Without
stinking
them.
They don't need
badges.
no stinking
Badges.
badges.
Badges. We don't need no stinking badges.
We all knew it was.
You know, I do have kind of a minor regret from my high school years. I didn't continue on to the Eagle Scouts. I should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that? Were you
Can.
busy with
He joined the
archaeology?
Falcon.
I was just too much.
He joined the
stuff.
Pharaohs, his breakdancing gang of
He-
hooligans.
Hey, now that
He
was
just-
that was like junior high school, first year of high school, and we were awesome. I was the guy on the right.
Put on your cardigans, boys. It's time to dance.
Now that was my hip hop years. That was before the
Like-
cardigan.
You've been served.
You know
like
the sad
everybody
thing,
else,
Eric?
he found
When I was at
grooves.
university, I actually I had to have a cardigan for certain events. I did have one.
I got a few.
Yeah.
Make sure you wear your cardigan.
Well, it was required. It was like a uniform for certain
Right.
events, right?
Listen, if you have
So
to
you gotta
walk to
have
class and it's -10, you want all the sweaters you can get your hands on.
Damn right, dude.
Well,
Uh,
true.
I just look like a white Bill Cosby in it.
Yeah, but I was right in Back Bay though, dude. So I didn't really have a lot of travel, to be honest with you. Oh, that's right. You're not Andrew. Andrew's the Boston guy. What part of New England are you from? Because you're definitely from New England.
Yeah, I grew up in Vermont.
Oh, okay. Well,
Old England.
so
About
you
4
gotta
hours.
are you gonna take
4 hours north of
responsibility
Boston.
for that Sanders fella?
No, we all hated him growing
Okay.
up. But he was the mayor of Burlington, Vermont, and we used to say he was at the time he was ran on the Socialist Party, and we just used to say he was a commie.
Because he is.
Mhm.
But at least he's an honest commie. To be fair.
He claims to be.
Well, no,
The only
he's
thing-
pretty straight shooter. He's just an honest commie. Yeah.
He's a party
The only
man
thing
all the
I'll say
way.
about Bernie that is
I don't know
good.
about-
My dad is a veteran, is a disabled veteran, a Vietnam veteran,
Mhm.
and Bernie in his time in Congress has done a fair amount of work with veterans benefits, veterans rights, things like that. So I'll give him that.
Okay.
Yeah.
More
I
than
mean,
most people.
I don't agree with him, but he is pretty consistent.
As long as it's not a fake college that he started to steal money from kids. He does good with money.
He likes to point out how other people have too much money,
Mhm.
where
Mm.
he's got 3 or
How many
4
do you have?
houses and flies
Yep.
private, and he's a multi-millionaire. So now,
The
so
lake.
instead of he used to yell against millionaires, now he yells against billionaires because he's a millionaire.
Billionaires.
Yep.
Whatever he doesn't have is
That's
bad.
true. That is true.
He's a total fraud.
But
There ain't
Now,
nothing honest about his communism.
well, communism isn't honest anyway. But
He's a commie,
now
socialist.
I have been to Burlington before. It's a pretty little place, actually.
Coat factory.
It's a pretty
Coat
little
factory,
place.
yeah.
But that's my. Well, thank you guys for jumping to my point. Is
Good
Burlington
deals.
Coat Factory? Is it from Vermont?
No, I don't believe it is.
Okay,
What?
I'm gonna have to
Well, I mean, it
research
has to
that.
be.
Built on a foundation of lies.
Now, Ben and Jerry's, yes.
Well, didn't one of those
Why is
guys
it
just
called
get arrested the other day for something stupid?
Burlington's Ice Cream Factory?
Who knows? Probably
Yeah,
protesting
he
or something.
had an outburst. Had an
Yeah.
outburst in court in Congress. He was just removed from the
I've
building. I don't think
been
he was arrested.
I've been to the factory. I've been to the original Ben and
Coat factory?
Jerry's.
Oh, we have.
Oh,
No,
Okay.
the Ben and Jerry's ice cream factory. They get tours.
okay.
It's
Do
very
they
cool.
give
It's a little.
samples?
Oh yes, they give you. Yeah, you can get samples.
Nice.
It's cool. It's a
That's
cool
why you
tour.
go on
Like,
the tour.
we're touring this land on Iroquois land.
They started.
no.
It was a former gas station. It was their first
No.
location.
You are correct, sir. It is not from Vermont. It is from the worst place in
Burlington,
America.
Massachusetts.
No, New
Oh.
Jersey.
Yeah.
Is it called Burlington, New Jersey?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Burlington's a pretty popular name.
Claims the red hair on the coat.
Yeah, no, we have a park as well, like a state forest.
Okay. Yes, Burlington, Japan.
No, Rhode Island. Come on,
Japan.
Rhode Island.
But
where's
no,
Ross from?
but no, seriously, I have been to the town. I wouldn't call it a city. The town of
It's
Burlington.
technically a
It
city, but
is.
yeah.
But you know what I mean. It is
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful little place though, dude. It's like all red brick, and it's got churches, steeples here and there, and it's got a nice
Aw,
little
pretty
harbor. Yeah, it's a pretty place, dude. Burlington is a
It's
pretty place.
so Burlington is part of an area that's it's called either the Champlain Valley, is sort of or it's Chittenden County, and that area includes it's northwest Vermont, right along the Lake Champlain, which borders upstate New York and Vermont.
Oh, the home of Champ.
Yes, it's the home of Champ, exactly.
There you
And
go.
it is really pretty.
It is red
it's
brick
quintessential
everywhere,
New
even
England.
on the ground.
Yes, yeah. It's hit some rough times though.
That's it.
Right now. Yeah.
I think
it's a
would think
place.
it'd be too cold for the troublemakers.
No, the hard part is that there's no industry in pretty much the state.
Oh,
Nobody
okay.
wants to go and build a factory.
Isn't
and
that
try to do stuff.
where? Isn't that where the magicians are from? Penn and Teller.
No.
Oh, really? I don't know
I
that.
think Penn Jillette's from
They
there.
seem
right?
awfully California to me, dude.
Yeah, I don't think I've never heard that they were from Vermont.
I think
the
Penn Jillette is.
Jaw
Yeah,
was
if he
invented
did
in
it.
Vermont.
He did a tour of his hometown and like how bad it is now and how there's
Oh,
a
really?
zero there.
Well, I haven't been in decades, but I did go there when I was younger, and it was gorgeous.
Yeah, it's one of those places. It's very pretty. It was very safe when I was a kid growing up. It's changed a lot now. And
Yeah.
it's,
Well,
Mm.
sadly, New England had a lot of beautiful things that seemed to be decaying.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the sad story all across the states. Although the southern states are doing economically doing well.
Yeah.
So but anyway, I'm gonna Jeff. I'm gonna get some coffee. Could you be in charge now?
I'll be in charge.
Yeah. Why don't you talk about your hometown?
Can I show something real quick?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me put your camera up. Hold on a second.
Okay.
It's interesting how many people decided to do Apache, man. Go ahead. I'm gonna get some coffee.
Apache.
So
He's getting some coffee.
I had done a bunch of illustrations of public domain characters. Right? My idea was that I was doing comic book conventions, and you run into all this stuff about, you can't do obviously old stuff. You can't do Spider-Man stuff. You can't do Batman, whatever. And I said, well, what if I had an illustrated book full of public domain characters that were illustrated? And it's a project I've slowly been working on for years and years and years. But one of the ones I did was Tarzan, and I thought I would show you this Tarzan piece that I did
It was
for
nice.
for the thing. So yeah, so
Oh, very
we've
nice.
got Tarzan and the gorillas and
Very
the
cool.
jungle. And, yeah.
I like all the detail in the little plants and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's what I did with the whole series. Is I went super ultra detail, very small, very fine line work, a lot of stuff. So there's all kinds of different entries in this series, but this was the
Well, you
Tarzan
got the
one.
scar on his side. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to make him. I figured he'd be really scarred up.
He has a few distinct scars that he gets through the book.
Okay.
Right.
And then the other
And
part,
that's one of them.
it always bothered me, like in the movies and the TV shows and all that kind of stuff. He's this hairless white guy, and you're like, I wasn't going to give him a beard, but at least give him some body hair, like some hair, some stubble. Like, how is he not have a big beard? And then I figured his hair would be kind of dreaded up,
There's a chapter in the book that talks about that.
Yeah. So anyway,
About how he learns how to shave.
So when the subject came up today, I figured I would just I would go ahead and share.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, as long as you do Lord of the Apes, it's public domain, right? The first book.
Exactly. Yep.
Did who showed him how to shave? Cheetah?
He did. He watched people, and he noticed the natives were like clean shaven, and then he noticed he was growing hair on his face.
I didn't like it much.
He used his dad's knife to shave. Yeah, I just found out recently that the Christopher Lambert movie added the scar on his forehead. You can't even see it in the movie. It's such a fine detail.
I love that movie. I remember seeing.
And
it
he
as a kid,
clearly,
really.
because he gets scalped in the book, like he gets his, they tear him from like his eyebrow to his forehead, and he lives with that scar forever. And it's like they actually have that in that movie. Like if you look at like publicity stills, there's a close up and there's the scar on his forehead, and you're like, whoa, somebody actually was reading that book when they were making that movie.
Hold on a minute.
That was almost Viggo Mortensen was almost Tarzan in that.
In the Christopher Lambert one?
Yeah, he was like the runner-up.
Wow, I didn't think he was that old.
It was him, Lambert, and another French guy who was like a ballet guy or something at the time.
What was his name?
And they went with the one that had the most experience acting, basically.
Yeah.
And he was French, and Tarzan's
Where's
French
his,
in the book, so it worked.
He's not Ariel's brother? Or the Frozen Girls?
Right, the Frozen Girls.
You know about that fan theory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
In the movie Frozen, the king and queen leave on a trip on a boat, and then they die
I
at
used to watch
sea and
those
never
videos.
come back. And so the theory is that they are Tarzan's parents, and that they survive long enough to have Tarzan, then they're killed by the apes.
And then his cousin turns into like a evil man in the cartoon.
It's
Clayton.
a feel-good story.
Did anybody see the Alexander Skarsgård one?
I didn't mind it.
I didn't
Yeah,
either.
I didn't mind it at all. It was it wasn't bad.
As long as you don't turn off the volume when what's her name is trying to do her American accent, it's all right.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah, Margot Robbie.
If she's not doing Harley Quinn, yeah, it's not a good accent.
It was like, oh, this is painful.
Yeah.
She's clearly not American.
How much time do we have left?
We got about a half an hour.
Jeez.
And they did weird with that movie because they set it like in the 1800s, right? They set it post Civil War because
Yeah.
what's his name?
Character is
Samuel Jackson plays an actual person who went to Africa and uncovered all the slavery stuff. And that's a true story. And it's like they mix that with Tarzan somehow that takes place at the turn of the century. Like in
Samuel
1900.
Jackson went over there and freed slaves?
Yep.
Mother.
But it's kind of like a Western where it doesn't really have a setting because it's clearly post-Civil War, but once they get to Africa, you have like Samuel L. Jackson dressed like a guy from the 1900s.
Right.
So
And using
Django.
modern weaponry.
I will not put up with snakes on this boat.
Tarzan!
Tarzan, English, do you speak it?
Do you understand what's coming out my mouth?
But Skarsgård was like great casting because he had the size for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they scarred him up too, which was cool because I know that's hard.
Who are
Just
you
make
talking
up
about?
Nothing.
Tarzan.
Yeah, which one?
Skarsgård.
Yeah, no, it wasn't horrible. Margot Robbie looked kind of sickly in that, though.
I just remember there was like a line, and it's in the trailer when she talks, and it's like her accent is so ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not why she's there, dude. But she didn't.
That was before she was famous. That was like
It was, but she did look very unhealthy in that. She was too skinny, dude.
the movie came out after her fame, but it was made like years before.
Yeah,
that would have been her first movie if it had been released, like in
properly.
whatever
Yeah.
year it was made.
Yeah, but I mean, she in later appearances, she put a little bit more weight on, and she looked a lot better. It's kind of like Uma Thurman. In her early performances, she had a little bit more. It's the opposite, but she had a little bit more weight on her, and she looked great. And then she went on that Hollywood diet and got skinny, man.
She ruined the Avengers, is what she did.
She did. That is true.
Let's be honest.
She did a lot of things. So did Jeff tell you about his hometown?
No.
No.
Jeff.
What about your hometown, Jeff?
I was raised by apes.
No, where is your hometown?
Barsoom, Ohio.
Yeah.
He was raised by a man named Tars Tarkus.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Well, his very last book was actually a sci-fi on a distant planet outside of the solar
Jeff
system.
was? I don't think Jeff wrote.
No, Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Oh, okay.
That must have been when I was writing with shrooms.
Jeff's last book.
Jeff's last book.
Big news, people. He's dying. Send money.
Aw. Give him one of them
You heard it from
GoFundMe's.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, they give money to murderers. I mean, give Jeff a break.
Yeah, he's only killed like
maybe
3
you should go
people.
kill somebody, Jeff. That might help you out.
I'll make a whole
Kill more people,
$300.
Jeff.
You know.
Make
100 for each person you killed. It's just not fair.
Where are the hometowns here? Let me have a shout out. Really? I'll start. My hometown is Narragansett, Rhode Island. Point Judith, to be specific.
So you want where we were born or where we grew up?
Yeah, you're where you were born, where you grew up as a kid.
Well, see, I only okay. So I was born in Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
and then we moved when I was about 2. Yeah, it
There you
wasn't bad.
go,
Well, it wasn't bad from what I remember. And then we moved down to Illinois when I was about 2, across the river from St. Louis in Cahokia, Illinois.
Cahokia. Okay. I always liked that Indian name, Cahokia.
It's in your throat, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, Eric, technically I was born in Westerly Hospital, but I grew up in Point Judith.
Really? I was born in my home.
Really?
Yeah, because I didn't want to be away from my mother.
Oh, fair.
Why did you go home?
That's fair.
Aren't you too good for your home?
He didn't want to go to it. Yeah. All right. So Eric is from Cahokia. I'm from Narragansett. Both are Indian names. Interesting. Anybody else?
I'm from Colchester, Vermont.
Colchester, Vermont. Colchester.
That
How about
sounds
you?
like a
That was
cold
named
town.
after Chester when he had a cold.
Well, Chester just means fort or castle, right? Jason?
Well, I was born in a place called McMinnville, Tennessee.
Ooh.
What's
And
Where that's at?
I'm still living here currently too. So
Very
Most of
nice.
my family's from Grootley Logger, Tennessee.
Whoa.
Oh, very nice.
Wasn't Edwin like a hillbilly from Tennessee or something?
He's from Virginia, isn't he?
North Carolina.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's even more. That's more hillbilly territory right there. Yeah.
NASCAR country.
The girls live in the Fountain of Youth City down in Florida. What about you, Mike? Where are you at? Well, I mean, where did you grow up?
Same place as the Undertaker. Parts unknown.
Oh God. People are so afraid of the internet. I'm not even asking where you're living now. I just asked you where you grew up.
Same
No, it's
place I
actually
was
called
born.
Parts Unknown. It's in Kentucky.
Yeah,
The
I'm
small
not
town
giving
of
that one out
Kentucky.
here.
There's a lot of wrestlers
That's
from
fine.
there.
That's fine. Yeah, parts unknown. That's true. Well, to be
I
fair,
grew up next to Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
I have certainly traveled the furthest of anybody away from my hometown.
Yeah, I'd say from there to Japan's pretty far.
Yeah, I'm literally on the other side of the planet. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty far. It wasn't my plan, though.
The other side of the disc, as they would say.
Yeah.
So how did you wind up in Japan with all of your stuff, Chester?
Stupid reasons. I was
Girls.
no,
fell in
well,
love.
kinda. Yeah, it was a girl. But well, no, because at that time, I was working in New York, and I was a studio musician, right? Just every day go and do your job type of musician, right? And Hard Rock Cafe was they had just built a whole bunch of Hard Rock Cafes in Asia, and they wanted to go and do like big spectacle and stuff. And they were hiring bands and setting up the tour, right? And there was one of the bands was called 911, and it was this black guy band, like a funk pop band, and they needed a saxophone player, so I signed up with them. I was the only white dude in the band, and they made me dress like a black dude, though. I had silk shirts.
The token.
Or not silk, satin, I think would be more accurate.
You're just like Neil Diamond.
Yeah, but that's true. Although they looked more like Rick James, really, is what it kind of looked like. But anyway, so I did that tour twice in Asia. We went from all the way from Jakarta to Tokyo and everything in between, and it was fun. And I had a bunch of money in my pocket, and I was like, my favorite place in the tour was Taipei. So I went to Taipei, and I was just kind of hanging out and chilling out in Taipei, enjoying it. I started working at a club. At that time, it was the largest nightclub in Asia, and it was called Club Kiss. It was this big black. It was very Elvis. Elvis would have loved it. Black velvet everywhere. you know,
Oh
black and
man.
red velvet. Yeah, it was very Elvisy. But I was working there, and I met my wife.
Sound
Yep.
like the stuff Black
Yeah,
Hawk of Club, brother.
yeah, and went and stayed in Hawaii for 7 years, and then went to Japan. Thus, I am here. It's her fault.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
they have that that effect on us, right?
They do.
And
It's true.
you as much as you might miss it here, you don't regret it.
Oh no,
No.
I've traveled all over the place, and I've kept one toe in the anthropological world because I am part of the Sumerian project, right?
Right.
So I basically become a professor, over here. But so I mean, I am teaching, but I'm a nighttime professor, right? But I do the
sounds
translations. It's all right. I mean,
sexy school.
you know, uh,
Nighttime.
I don't know. I'm a foreigner, so we get put in the nighttime professor positions. So, and honestly, the only reason they even keep me on there and pay me what they pay me is because I'm like one of the only people in Japan that can actually teach cuneiform.
Hmm.
That's really why they have me. They have me on.
Well, and then you're too big, and they're afraid to fire you. They're
That
afraid
might
of
be
you.
it too. There could be something there. But I do teach classical and modern Greek. I teach that as well. I do have anthropology classes, and I pick up for kids, students that want to make up for some class or something like that. Just random lab, almost like a lab. I do that once a week. So it is what it is. Not very prestigious or fancy. So there you go. That's all I got here.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I like it.
Yeah, well, I don't mind it. I have to, Japanese aren't perfect, of course, no one is, but
Who is?
man, you got to give them
Yeah.
credit. These Japanese know how to do society, man. They really do.
Jesus was.
Well, okay, fine. Jesus
Yep.
was then.
Clearly, you haven't read the Hal comics.
But they do get a lot of things correct. One of the things they do I think would be great for America to emulate is in the schools, like say, elementary school or even kindergarten. What they do here is they don't have janitors. The kids clean the school together. They
Wow.
also
Really?
take turns serving each other their lunches. They also take turns cleaning the blackboard and cleaning erasers, and they do a lot of these things where they have responsibility to take care of their own space.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's simple.
It's good practice.
It is. It's a simple thing. It doesn't sound like much, but I tell you, I think the Americans could use it.
Oh yeah, no, that's hey man. It used to be that way when we were growing up. That certain schools that you could go do that stuff where you could go prep all that thing, all the like the lunchroom,
Sure.
milk or whatever else you were gonna do, and just those simple little things, they're huge.
They are.
They just teach you
Yeah,
service.
it
That
does.
there's more than you.
That's right. It teaches you to working together and camaraderie, and the Japanese definitely have that sense. And you see, even as adults, when something needs doing, they just kind of automatically move together because they
Hmm.
grew up with it, right? It's a simple little thing, but I really think we should incorporate it in American schools. Now, you get some pushback for sure, but screw that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
just a little bit.
yeah.
And of course, another thing that they do here that we used to do when I was a kid, for sure, you have your own agency and you're responsible for your actions. I know it's a shocking concept.
Yeah. Responsible for your actions?
Yeah.
We used to do that. We used to do that.
We did. No,
Yeah, but then who do I blame?
when did that go out of fashion? When did that stop?
when adults stopped growing up and they started blaming everybody else.
So what? 90s, aughts, teens.
I don't know. Forever.
I'm gonna say it's got to be the aughts.
You think? Yeah.
Yeah. I think mostly anything after Generation X. Graduated high school.
Yeah, because we definitely had to be responsible for stuff, and I mean, they would make if you got
Because no one
caught,
else was going to be, not even our parents.
That's true. But if you got caught for something, they would sit there and look at you sternly until you fessed up to it and made amends, amended your actions, right? I had to replace a road sign once.
Wow.
Whoa.
You got caught, didn't you?
I did. Well, I was drunk, and I just that road sign would look very good on my wall. Thank you very much.
Mine did, and they didn't catch me.
Damn it.
Same here.
My dad lived on a street that had the most stolen sign in the whole town.
What was
It's
it
called Magic Loop.
Oh, there you go. That's right.
So
Magic
every
what?
pothead in the world, like every day night at like 2 a.m., you hear like, you're like, oh, someone's stealing a sign.
Goodness gracious. The one I took
You
was
would
called Pine
smell a strong odor of
Reach.
pot in the air, and then you'd hear like the screeching of metal. You're like, yep, taking the sign.
Mine was actually a speed limit sign that I actually hit with the front end of my car, and it came through the windshield.
Oh, wow. That's
oh,
why
I
you
totally keep that. I'm like,
possession,
this is
yeah.
mine now.
And I took off before the cops came.
I need a trophy.
Goodness gracious.
I'm
But,
angry at this time.
I didn't get thrown in jail or anything like that. I had to pay, and I was required to reinstall it. They actually sat there and watched as I ratcheted bolts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, it's a small town.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that happens anymore. Matter of fact, from those little videos my wife watches of these ghetto people doing ghetto stuff and interacting with the cops don't even bother to try to be stewards of the town anymore. They just arrest you and throw whatever
Because the
random
law is
charge.
written, the laws have been changed, Chester. The law is now written that the officers are handcuffed.
No, I see that. I can see that. I understand that. But they used to be stewards of the
Yes.
community, right? They're not anymore. That's gone.
Tax collectors is what
They
they
are tax collectors. You are right.
That is all they are now.
Yeah,
They're there
it's
to
a
write
shame.
you tickets and issue citations and about it.
I don't
If
know
they
about
see you
any of the
bleeding to
rest of
death
you in
and
the
dying, they
cities.
turn the
They
other
don't
way.
pull over that many people anymore.
What do you say?
In the cities, well, here in St. Louis, they don't pull that many people over at all anymore.
Really? Why?
Yeah, it's almost like they're afraid to.
You know how many cops have been shot for pulling people over?
Dude, St. Louis
Think about it.
is a nightmare, unfortunately.
No, I'm
it's
not
gotten
even
really
talking about
bad.
St. Louis. This is a nationwide epidemic where a cop will pull someone over for a violation, and next thing they're getting a clip unloaded in them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's why the cops aren't pulling anyone over. Why would they risk their life? So now, unless the car is stopped or they're risking someone else's life, they don't do it. Because lawlessness has
I
been
get it.
ingrained into the mind of
the ghetto.
There's no respect anymore anywhere. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I don't know it, but I can see that. But I remember when I was a kid, the only time I heard of anyone shooting a gun was, not hunting, right? Was some old dude
2
that
years.
was drunk and he was shooting at seagulls, but he thought they were ducks.
Right.
Oh.
So,
Come on down to Texas. You'll see some real law enforcement.
Well, they are notorious for that. Yeah.
Yeah, the Texas Rangers are real. It's a real deal. They will. I live in a fairly small town, and they've got helicopter and drone, and they with night vision, they will track you down.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, those signs that say traffic enforced by air are true.
Well, dude, the drones are changing warfare. You see what's happening in Ukraine, right?
Oh yeah.
It's amazing. By the way, this piece is amazing, dude. It really is pretty. Now, I'm kind of curious. A lot of you guys are doing the Western stuff. Now, like I said, the only one I ever read of his Western stuff was Apache Devil. And I know he did 4. I got him here on the screen. But which Indian are you guys choosing? The War Chief or Apache Devil or which
I
which
chose War
War Chief.
Chief, but
War Chief? Yeah, I haven't read that
he's
He's
one,
the
seems
white
like
although I
guy that
hear it's
raised
the
the
best.
Indians,
Though
right?
I hear it's the best. Yeah,
War Chief seems to be a white dude though,
I don't
Yeah,
know.
he
I
was
haven't read
raised
it.
by Indians. He's like an
and
orphan.
hated white men, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because it's like an alien world to him.
Well, on that bookshelf I had mentioned, there were a lot of westerns. So
What bookshelf?
my grandparents' bookshelf.
Is he a Zane Grey man?
Yes, Zane Grey was. I read one, and I didn't read another one.
Well, you only have like 275 more to go, Chester.
My dad liked those.
Slightly prolific.
Who was
That was
Walt
John Wayne's
Whitman?
favorite
My
guy,
brain
right?
is saying Walt Whitman. Who is a Walt Whitman?
He was a
He was a
poet.
gay dude that liked Lincoln.
I remember a Walt Whitman book.
He was a
He
writer
was
and a
the-
poet,
wasn't he?
right?
The trees.
think
Something
so.
about
He
trees.
wrote
Nothing so lovely as a
poems.
tree.
He wrote
Yeah,
poems.
Poem.
Yeah.
Poet.
I remember
Tree,
thumbing through
maybe?
that one. Remember that one?
He looked like Gandalf.
I have no idea what he looked like. I remember that book. There was some Mark Twain stuff, of course. It was a mix.
Your dad didn't read Mac Bolan?
No, he liked the Zane Grey and that other guy we were talking about a week or two ago, Eric. What was his name?
Shoot.
That other prolific
Louis L'Amour?
Louis
Louis L'Amour?
L'Amour,
Was it
yeah,
Louis
Louis
L'Amour?
L'Amour.
L'Amour? Oh, yeah. I was going to say, if you read Zane Grey, you have to read Louis L'Amour because
Yeah,
that's like.
my dad liked those, and I do remember there was a period where, because when he kind of went out of the field and started training as a teacher, I'd see he was home more, and he and my mother did read a lot, and I do remember him reading the entire series of the Clan of the Cave Bear.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. And then they
That
did a
was-
movie and it
was
had
that late-
Daryl Hannah, and he hates Daryl
I
Hannah.
was
He
going to say,
wasn't
it's a Daryl Hannah school now.
Was that late 70s? Early 80s?
something like that. Yeah.
Movie was the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Was that the one with Ron Perlman, or is that just called Caveman?
I think Perlman was a different one. The one I remember, the movie had Daryl Hannah in it, and my dad wasn't happy.
Caveman had
'cause he
Ringo
didn't like
Starr.
her. Caveman did have Ringo
Yeah,
Starr.
Caveman was Ringo Starr. Like, Clan of the Cave Bear is Ron Perlman because
Is
they're
it?
like, we need an actual caveman.
That's fair. Maybe it was.
Turns out Hollywood has one.
Yeah, no, when I was younger, I read a lot of novel stuff. When I became in my teens, I was more reading history stuff.
I'm looking, guys. I'm
Mhm.
looking at the YouTube,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's looking. Oh, hang on.
It's the
it's-
screensaver. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a screensaver.
Yeah, I changed it over. I was just showing it for a bit. I'm back to live.
Sure about that?
I am. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep,
there we go.
it's back.
I'm just showing off a little bit of Boris Vallejo. And that is an interesting thing with Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Is that Boris or is that Mark Wheatley? Eric made the thumbnail. He would know.
Oh yeah, it's not Valio. You're right. But however, one thing about Burroughs' books, he did have a lot of great artists on his covers, man, for sure. And even later when they did
Yeah,
reprints, he
much
always
more.
gets really good art on his stuff, man.
Because so many artists grew up on it, and
Yeah,
that was like their inspiration.
yeah,
Like Frazetta knew those books, so he did a
sure.
ton of them.
Yeah.
Neil Adams did a bunch of them.
Howard got some good love later too.
Joe
Mhm.
Kubert did that whole Tarzan series.
The art
He-
stuff,
Yeah, he
the
did the
covers, yeah,
DC stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some really good ones, like because some of the later Tarzan were pretty bad, but then they got good again when he decided to make Tarzan super brutal. What was it, like Tarzan the Killer or something like that? I think it was called that, something like that. And that actually was a pretty good book. So but yeah, all that old art was good. I love the Venus covers; those are good. The Moon series covers are good too. There's a lot of good. He's got a
Thuvia.
lot of good covers, huh?
Was it Thuvia, the Moon Maid or whatever?
Yeah, the Moon Maid. Yeah, yeah. There's like what 3 of those, I think. There's a trilogy of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's 3. And of course there was, I can't remember how many there were for at the core at the Earth's core. There was a chunk of those.
Quite a few, yeah.
Yeah, and of course Tarzan did a crossover with that because he brought Tarzan into that series.
Yeah. I almost drew that, but I was like, I just can't get my head around dinosaurs.
Him holding on to the pterosaur, the flying one. I remember that art. That was great. They were cool. But I just don't understand how the movie Tarzan didn't speak French.
Because the movies were just adaptations, and they're just movies.
That's true. Yeah.
The French guy never even made it to the movies until the Christopher Lambert movie. Darno, the man who taught him, was only in one movie in 100 years of movies.
Well, now Jeff and I were talking about that earlier, and he made a good point with Philip K. Dick and Stephen King. But which writer has the most media adaptation of their work? And
Mary Shelley.
No, come on, it's
Yeah.
one book.
Random Brothers.
No, I'm talking
it's
about
one book, but it's
so many of the books being turned in. And maybe it's not Edgar Rice Burroughs, but as far as time, though, as far as series and things like that, it's got to be him, dude. There's so many adaptations of his stuff, so many.
I was going to say, he's the most influential, I think, of when you look up modern media, like the modern action movie is totally just a good action movie. Is it like a Tarzan story? Then it's a good action movie.
Yeah.
Predator is just a Tarzan movie.
Yep. No, he was an important dude, man. I think Howard was a little bit more niche, but Howard was a better writer. I know I said it.
No, he's probably the best writer of the 20th century.
Yeah.
No shame in that.
He was really good.
And Howard was first, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I know that
Burroughs was first because Howard was inspired by him.
Well, because Burroughs' first book, the Princess of Mars, was like what 1912 or something like that. 11, yeah.
1911. Tarzan the following year.
Yeah.
He's rolling out the hits.
He was, like I said, he started quite late.
He's like what, 50?
He was 30 something when his first thing dropped. So
and it was just like, I'm going to write a book. Why not?
I don't know what happened to him before. Now, to be fair, Howard is from that era, but I think most of his stuff was probably in the 20s, late 20s, mid late 20s, yeah,
mid 30s. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was inspired by it. He did his own version of John Carter.
Yeah.
Called it Almeric, and he never finished it because he didn't like it.
To be
You
fair,
can buy it, but some ghostwriter finished it. But
oh, I see.
it's very noticeable in the third act when it becomes a different writer because it just takes on a whole different life.
Well, and if you think about it, also, I mean, Burroughs had even though he started late, he had a lifetime of work, right? I mean, 40 years of stuff, almost 40 years.
Yeah.
Whereas Howard, he was dead. I mean, what, less than a decade, less than a decade after
10 years when he was gone, and probably put out more than any living author. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. Too bad
in every genre.
It's too bad that he offed
And that's all
himself.
good. That's the thing. It's like he didn't write a bad story. I mean, if he did, he threw it away.
No, he was good stuff, and of course he was real good buddies with Lovecraft, of course, and they corresponded and
Yeah,
did
they
a lot
were
of stuff.
pen pals, right?
Yeah. And we're
There was
gonna
like
get
a whole
into him
group
when
of
we get to
writers
it, but trust that we'll get to it because my goodness, Howard, man. And I would say that Howard has certainly had movie adaptations, but he might be the one that has the most comic book adaptations.
Yeah, because of the Marvel thing in the 70s.
Yeah, and also Weird Tales, right? There's so many Howard books in the and stories in Weird Tales. So many.
Well, a lot of Burroughs stuff
Conan
was
a breakout.
You're right.
in comics too.
You're right. It was, but I'm just kind of curious who had the most though. My brain is leaning toward Howard, dude.
It could be.
Yeah.
I think people always
And we're
think
doing him
they
in
think
2
of Conan,
weeks.
but they forget about King Kull.
Oh yeah.
That was Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was unpublished
Yeah,
too.
cool. That was
And that had a pretty long comic run.
And keep in mind, he did a lot of horror stuff too. Good stuff.
Yeah. That's his most adapted to screen stories, The Pigeons from Hell. That's been adapted numerous times to TV shows and movies.
Mine was my favorite was the Rattle of Bone. What's it called?
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good one. I think it was called the Rattle of Bone. I think something like that. But he did a whole bunch of stuff, man. It's just insane. We're talking. It's like 8 years, I think, was his publishing run, or 9 or 10.
Yeah,
or
it's
something
ridiculous.
It is insane. The amount of stuff he put out, and a lot of course, it did get covered in Weird Tales. There was a lot of Weird Tales stuff he did directly, of course. But we had the Conan stuff, and I don't know what 30 things. Kull
You know what Google tells me?
What?
Google tells
He
me
did
the
Conan.
author that's had the most adaptations to TVs and movies is William Shakespeare.
Oh well, that's cheating.
Oh yeah,
though. That's
would
not
be
fair.
true. It's like Shakespeare and Mary Shelley would be the two.
Yeah, that's fair. But
But I feel like Shakespeare is more like not so much adaptations as like inspired by, right?
Yeah. Kull, there I don't know, 20 books, something like that. 20 stories. Solomon Kane, there was about the same.
Not many, but they're great.
They are great. Brackmech.
Bran McMorn.
Yeah.
Bran
O'Brien, of
McMorn
course.
is where you have to watch like a funny movie after reading those because they're all horribly depressing.
They are. You got the Allison stories, of course. There were a bunch of those.
I'll be right back.
His most famous in his time was Breckenridge Elkins, his comedies.
Yeah. Yeah.
His Western comedy.
He also had that what was that sailor's name?
Oh yeah.
I can't remember his name, but there were a bunch of those stories. A whole bunch of those actually.
And then the boxing stories.
Yep.
A genre that vanished shortly after the 30s.
Yeah, the Breckenridge Elkins stuff. There was a bunch of those. You got the Bearfield
And those
stuff.
are the hardest to find, even though that was the at the time the most famous.
I think he did some Western stuff too, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's insane. The bibliography in that short span of time. Now, a lot of it, to be fair, is in magazines and stuff and newspapers. They're short stories, fair enough. But it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's like Asimov level with
Yeah, and
less
half of the
time.
stuff just wasn't even printed at the time because it's like he was like, "Oh, I don't like it." After his death, they were printed though.
Yeah,
But
that's fair. But I was talking about
it
in
just amazes me
his
that
time.
they're all good quality.
Yeah, he's a good writer.
Like normally, and the stuff he threw away, like Call, he threw that out, and it's like it's great.
Yeah. Still don't know if they understand why he offed himself though.
No, we'll never know that. Like anyone that does it.
Yeah, I suppose.
His mother died.
Maybe that's simple, huh?
That's all we know. Chimpanzees were put here for the entertainment of man. That's all we know, Chester.
That's true.
That's all we know.
Arthur Conan Doyle has had over 200 adaptations into movies and television.
That would, yeah, he would have to
Yeah.
be high because all the Sherlock Holmes stuff.
I guess I wasn't specific enough. What I meant was the
Tarzan
absolute
alone probably
totality
has
of
over 100
unique stories.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find. It's very hard to narrow that down from the internet. They don't even know how to look it
Tarzan,
up.
the character has been adapted hundreds of times, but zero of the stories have been. Oddly enough.
No, the Tarzan we get is not the Tarzan in the book. That's for sure.
No, it's like the Marvel Comics version of Conan is the Tarzan of the movies, like just a goofy ape dude that doesn't, that just grunts.
Yeah, no, because he was actually super smart. But
Mhm.
actually, it did very, very badly. But that John Carter movie, it wasn't bad.
No, it's not.
It's
Not
a
bad
good
at all.
movie.
They didn't know how to market it.
I heard it actually wasn't bad. Yeah.
They
they knew how to market it, but the guy in charge of the marketing embezzled from Disney.
Oh, did he? Oh, well, that explains it.
Well, there's more to that too. Disney just wanted to
Star
I'm gonna
Wars.
screw this up. They tanked the film on purpose because of the estates and all the other things that go along with it. So they had a good movie, but it's one of those self-sabotage things that they did for whatever purposes. So it's an unfortunate
Well, they
thing.
couldn't do any sequels without paying for them.
And they jumped all over the place over many books. They instead of just doing a Princess of Mars.
Yeah, they did too much sequel setup, which they did not need to do.
Yeah. And it's a shame because, like I said, my favorite is The Mucker. But probably his most famous book he ever wrote was his first one, A Princess of Mars. That was
that's the most
mega
imitated,
hit.
I would say.
Yeah, they should have just followed it. Just like those idiots.
My dad loves The Princess of Mars.
It's a good book, dude. It's a really good book. And it's a fast read too. It's like those idiots that did The Dark Tower with Idris Elba. It's like, dude,
don't even
just
start on
do
that
The
movie.
Gunslinger. What the hell is wrong with you? That's one of Stephen King's best books he ever wrote.
I think because that
Isn't he
spent so
supposed to be
many
like
years.
a Clint Eastwood character?
What do you say?
Oh, it's
Sort of.
so many years in adaptation hell that they did what they could that they had the rights to, basically.
But
The Dark Tower is way too ambitious to do. I mean,
no, you need seasons to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. Introduce it as, The Gunslinger. Just do the short story. It's a tight little story. People would have been, ooh, what's that? And then you got yourself running, right? But no, Hollywood.
But I think it's one of those things where a bunch of different studios owned it, so they had to film around what they couldn't do. So they ended up with a jumbled mess.
Yeah. And the thing is, Idris Elba is a race swap, but in this case, I didn't mind it. He's a good actor. It didn't really bug
He's a
me
good
so
actor,
much.
but yeah.
But it is a race swap. But if they, I don't know, they're always burning out all of their opportunity, especially like Marvel. They burn so many characters. You get them, oh, they're dead. It's like, what are you doing?
Yep.
Anyway,
It's the Dick Tracy syndrome.
it is.
Where
all
the
right.
first 5 minutes they killed like 25 of his main villains in one scene.
It was ridiculous, wasn't it?
And I think that's because Warren Beatty was just like, he wanted to get every single character in the movie because he knew he's only getting one. Because him and Disney were fighting.
Yeah, well, he's difficult.
Well, he owns Dick Tracy, so we'll never get a Dick Tracy movie till he's dead.
Are you serious? I didn't know that. He bought it out, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
He owned it then. That's the reason it vanished. Like, it was the biggest movie of the year, but you never hear about it because it was like Disney can't profit from it. All that money goes to him. So you can find it on YouTube for free, but you can't get it on Disney Plus or anything like that.
I didn't know that.
Because Disney doesn't profit from it.
That's too bad.
Look up Warren Beatty, Dick Tracy. He did, when the rights are running out, he films little like home movies so he can keep the rights.
Does he? Wow.
Yeah, he did like one like a few years ago where it was like Leonard Maltin was interviewing Dick Tracy.
Uh-huh.
And then he did another one like just a couple years ago. That was the same sort of thing, and it was just to hold the rights because you have to have something on film. Because he knows if he lets go those rights, it's going straight to Disney.
Yeah, no, they do a lot of that kind of nonsense all the time, unfortunately. It's too bad it's Warren Beatty because he's insufferable.
But I'd rather have it with someone who loves it than be stuck with like a horrible adaptation of it that ruins it forever.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
It's kind of sucks we don't get one, but at the same time, it's like, well, it would be Disney, and what would they do with it? Good Lord.
I know he punched Donald Sutherland in his nose quite stoutly, and that was definitely a good thing to happen. Huh?
He is creepy.
You didn't know that story?
He's a creepy man.
No, Donald Sutherland, of course, in the 70s, for some reason they put him in a lot of sexy movies where he had sexy sex scenes with ladies. I don't get it because he's such a gangly, ugly dude. Unlike his son, who's a pretty boy. But he did a horror movie.
He's getting kind of ugly too.
Well, maybe, but I mean, when young Kiefer is a handsome boy. But anyway, they did a horror movie in Italy, and it's one of the more notorious sex scenes in movies, right? And that was Warren Beatty's girlfriend, and he saw it, and he was like, "I'm going to murder someone," and he tried to murder Donald Sutherland.
So he's like a evil Knievel temper.
Oh yeah, he was mad. I mean, I've actually seen that movie. I don't blame him.
I've seen Donald Sutherland. I don't blame him.
Well, no, he's distracting, and that's kind of being nice.
Young Donald Sutherland is creepier than like old man Donald Sutherland looks normal. Like he looks like a kindly old grandfather, but young Donald Sutherland is scary.
Creepy as hell, dude. Yeah. Anyway,
like
Jeff,
he's gonna throw you in the back of a van. Creepy. Yeah.
That's true. Come along, Jeff.
Okay.
So we're going to start at the top and rotate our way down. So we have Eric. Now he's done War Chief or Apache. I'm not sure.
I did War Chief because I assumed everybody else was going to do Tarzan, so I want to do something different.
Right. And to be fair, I haven't read War Chief, although of his westerns, it's considered the best one.
It's hard to find. So
is it?
No shame in not reading.
Yeah. Like I said, I only read what was available to me, and Apache Devil was the one on the shelf. But it's good. What do you think, Jeff? Jeff?
He needs a loincloth.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Well,
You've been told.
You'll get that in a minute, Chester.
What do you mean I'll get there in a minute? I don't understand. What did I miss?
Oh, you'll get it in a minute. You'll get it.
Loincloth? I get what a loincloth is.
You'll get the joke in a minute.
Okay. I feel left out, Jeff.
Well, you won't be. You'll get there. Just wait till you get there.
Okay.
Get there when you get there.
What am I supposed to be looking at?
Nothing now.
Alan?
It'll be later.
Alan. Supposed to look at Alan.
Okay, fine. Fine. It is good though. I like it. So if you guys
Thank you.
appreciate what Edgar's done, please vote for him in the straw poll. Jeff approves. Loincloth more, however. Let's go over here, and Tubin and Mike, for some reason now, has decided not to display, even though he's been displaying the
What
whole
are you
time.
talking? What? I'm not displaying now.
You were.
And now it's
there
not?
it is. Okay, there it is. Perfect. All right.
I
So
was
let
gonna say, what's going on? Hold
so
on, let me fix it now.
no, you're good. I got
No,
you
you
now.
were. There you go. There you
There
go.
we go.
Right there.
All right, so we got ourselves a little bit of a mix here, but we definitely have a Disney Tarzan homage, which, to be fair, it was actually a fun movie. Disney
Glenn
Tarzan
Keane
was
did a
fun.
great job. I love that movie for the Glenn Keane designs.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Also,
beautiful.
It has killer music by like Phil Collins. Killer
Sure,
music in there.
but his movement in the trees is really spectacular.
Yeah,
I loved it
That's-
for Rosie O'Donnell as Cantor the elephant.
Oh, fair. It's fair.
Typecasting, I know.
And that was back in
So-
the day where you could actually have a pretty girl to be Jane. You know, it's
Right.
animation, but she was cute.
Chester, she had a big face.
She
Oh,
did.
I'm talking about the voice acting.
Oh, the voice actor, yeah. And now the one on the bottom,
Yes.
which Tarzan is that, Mike?
That is not Tarzan. That is John Carter of Mars. I just quick pulled up the Disney movie.
Oh, okay.
And just roughly looked at Taylor Kitsch, and it ended up looking more like Commandy than
the long-haired
Yeah.
hippie, John Carter.
But
Fair
his
enough.
hair in that movie is very reminiscent of Commandy with the shots I
Yeah.
found online.
That's interesting.
So I'm like,
He would
huh.
have been better cast with short hair. With short hair, he would have looked much better as that part.
What you mean,
Right,
like
so I
in
just-
the book?
Yeah, he wouldn't have looked so much like Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, that was a weird choice because in the book he's one, he's older, and he's a Civil War veteran.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
better
but
actually.
he's not a widower like in the tried to give him the Batman origin that wrecks the entire movie because it turns him into a horrible philanderer. Because
right.
that book is about it's a love story between him and Deja Thoris, and that's gone in the movie because he's pining for his dead wife and kid the whole time, and you're like, what?
Right.
In the most epic battle scene ever filmed is him fighting the army of warhoons that comes right out of the book. And right in the middle of the scene, it's him having flashbacks of dead babies. And you're like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, that is fair.
Like such weird
Then just
choices.
Other than that, Chester, just a figure sketch of Tarzan. Nothing.
Sure, I thought so. Yeah,
Nothing crazy.
looks good.
So-
What do you think, Jeff?
I can't really see it, but yeah, it looks great.
You can't see it? Look on the YouTube.
See, I like the physicality they gave him, like in the Disney one
Yeah.
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because an actual strong person's not going to look like Schwarzenegger. They're going to look more lean.
Yeah, and what I loved was
Yeah, but they would still talk like geese.
his biceps and triceps, they were decent, but they really played into, okay, if you're going to be a man in the wild like that, your forearms, your quadriceps, and your calves are going to be huge. And they did that awesome. Just phenomenal.
Well,
you
they
know?
looked at people like actual strong people of that time who had that build. Like Olympians looked like that back then before steroids and before body sculpting.
Right.
Yes.
Like, look up Herman Briggs, who played Tarzan, and he's like lanky, but he looks just like that cartoon. He's at that same body.
What was the name?
Just solid as a rock. Herman Briggs.
Okay.
And he was a guy that he was the original for Tarzan before Weissmuller, and he broke his shoulder or something. Something happened right before they filmed, and they got Weissmuller instead because he couldn't film it.
Wow.
And then later on, Burroughs himself made a Tarzan movie called The Green Goddess, and Briggs is the star of it. And he's probably the best on-screen Tarzan. He just looks the part. He speaks English. He's like a normal, intelligent person.
Right.
Then he does a rope trick in the movie where he breaks ropes just by flexing his muscles, and it's real. It's not like trick rope. It's actually him doing it because it was like his little party trick.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
on.
no,
Oh,
I
cool.
remember this guy, dude. I remember this guy. Yeah, you're right. He has the
But
perfect
yeah, that's a
build for
guy who
Tarzan.
was like a gold medalist, track and field or whatever. Grew up in Oregon, climbing trees. So
In real life, he demolished brick walls with his forehead.
Oh, nice.
yeah,
That's good to know. But this is great. If you like what Mike has done, please vote for him the straw poll. All
Had
righty,
his own demolition company.
That's fair.
I'm sorry.
That is fair. Let me go over here and take a look at.
I didn't hear what was said. I apologize.
Yeah, let me take a look at Amy. Now, Amy has also done the Tarzan, but of course, he's a nature-loving hippie Tarzan. This is not the correct Tarzan, Amy. What you have done is you have drawn George of the Jungle.
no, she did a baby boy.
Yeah.
Other than the hair color, he's spot on.
Yeah, no, he looks good. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, and
He's
of
even
course,
got his mother's locket that he found in the cabin.
That's true.
Along with those skeletons.
That's right. Now that with the one with Margot Robbie and the boy there, what's his name? Skarsgård.
Skarsgård.
They actually had the locket in there, didn't you? I'm pretty sure they had skeletons anyway. I think they did. But that was trying to be a little bit more honest to it. Amy, can you hear me? No. No, Amy can't hear me. Looks good though. What do you think, Jeff?
There we go.
I think I can hear her.
I can, but what do you think of her Tarzan?
Oh, it's actually pretty good.
Of the apes.
Thank you.
He should have an ape perching on his finger.
Yes.
That would be cool. Try a little monkey.
You know, I mentioned it offhand as a joke, but I kind of would like to. Does anyone?
He does
know
have the loincloth.
He does. He does. Does anyone know who created George of the Jungle?
His mother and
I
father.
don't I have to look it up.
Oh goodness gracious! Fine.
Is it Dave
It
Ward?
was the people that did Bullwinkle, right? I mean, it's that studio that made it.
Was it?
Same voices and narrator.
So I would just
I'm guessing
whoever put that stuff together then. But of course, if you like what Amy's done, please vote for the straw poll. Now we're taking a look at Honey's stuff. Now, Honey, what are we doing?
Well, messing up basically.
I don't know. It looks good. I'm just. What am I looking at?
This is the crew from this is the hero from Pistol Politics. I completely forgot that he was the Conan guy, not the Tarzan guy. So I've been drawing from the wrong author.
Oh, you did a Howard piece. That's why I don't recognize
He
it.
did Breckenridge Elton. Yeah.
Well, you know what you do. You put that in your pocket, and when we do Howard, you can elaborate upon it and have the most amazing thing
He
ever.
drew the mucker. She just drew the mucker.
That's fair. We'll just call it the mucker. Let's just call it the mucker.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Or the guy from the girl from Hollywood.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's like the worst. What? Don't bring that up. No, that's the worst Howard book ever written. The Girl from Hollywood.
No,
It's bad. It's really bad, dude.
It could be the guy from the Oakdale Affair that fights a bear.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll just say it's the mucker. We'll go with that, and he's fighting some Southeast Asians.
He's getting some money out of somebody that owes money.
Yeah. You owe the pirates. You owe the pirates some money there, buddy. Yep.
That's
but
what a mucker was, right? Like a loan shark.
Yeah,
basically, or
kind of.
like an
Yeah.
mob enforcer.
Yeah. Well, he got shanghaied and it ended up in the Orient, but
right.
yeah,
But I
he
mean,
was
that's what that word means. That's
yeah.
what a
He's a
mucker
pretty bad
is,
guy. He's a mucker. Yeah, he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense though. Just beating on some Indo-Chinese peoples. Perfect.
Yep.
There you go.
Pirates.
So you're gonna ask me my opinion?
I am.
I think Melissa
More
has some
brave.
unresolved anger issues here.
I think so. I can feel that. There's
He looks
biting on
very
the
happy. I don't know what
on the
he's
shoulders and attacks and violence, and the girl is just like, oh my god.
But you know what? The Pringles man is putting in his best effort.
He is.
That's all that matters.
He is. He's giving them shins a workout. He is, for sure, for sure. But actually, there's quite a few Burroughs books that involve pirates. He did like the pirates, to be fair.
Pirates of Venus.
And lost kingdoms, lost people. There's a lot of that.
A lot of mystery.
My favorite emperor, David.
Yeah.
David Innes. Emperor Innes.
Well, I never knew that Africa had so many lost peoples and places.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's where all those Romans went, right? And started
That's right.
that pocket civilization of Roman soldiers.
That is true.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And there were those ant people, those tiny little ant-sized.
Well, no, yeah, that was that was Tarzan in the at the Earth's core, right? And
no, that was Tarzan versus the Ant-Men.
But it was at the
And then
Earth's
there's
core, though.
Tarzan
What?
in
It was in
Lost-
Hollow World, wasn't it? Hollow Earth.
No, that was in Africa.
Are you sure?
And then there's the
because he
the
got
Lost
shrunk
Legion
down,
is
right?
when he finds the Roman.
Right? No.
Yeah,
I
he gets
remember
shrunk
that one.
down in the ant people.
He does, yeah. So many great stories.
They get crazy. Those stories get crazy.
They do get crazy. That's what I say. It's very pulp. It's very pulp.
Yeah,
but
there's very much like 3 stories, and it ends, and then like Sherlock Holmes, you can't end a thing that people love that much.
Mm-mm.
Well,
Like,
money
then
talk.
what happens?
I think Tarzan he is where he got in trouble because it was such high demand that he just had to keep pumping them out. And like I said, the last ones weren't so bad, but there was a middle chunk there. But boy,
Yeah.
not great, man.
Well, then he did Jungle Girl, that was like Sheena.
Yeah. It was
But I think it was done after Sheena because there were so many Tarzan ripoffs that he did a girl Tarzan because other people were making girl
Right.
Tarzans.
No, he did a few. There were a few Girl
Yeah.
of the Jungle books. There were a few of those, yeah.
Mhm.
But the good thing, like I said before, the actual John Carter series, which wasn't all him, let's just say the Barsoom series.
Yeah.
Those were
there
solid,
again, it's
dude.
3
All
books
10 of those were
and on
great.
him, right?
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
they're
the
not
first
all
3 are
just
about him, and it kind of branches off.
Yeah, you got some of his kids, and then there's another guy who showed up
Right.
in the very same way, and it ended with him.
Oh yeah, that's the Thuvia.
Yeah, the
That one's hilarious.
chestnut
Because instead of the guy
Mars,
getting
is
the
that what it
girl, the
was?
girl was just not impressed. It's great.
It is
She's
great.
just like, yeah, whatever. You're
Yeah,
weird.
if you haven't read these
Sure,
things, go
man.
read them. They are basically short stories. They're not long, right? And they're a good, fun read. His pacing is amazing. Anyway, let me move on.
Mhm.
If you like what Honey's done, vote for her in the straw poll. Let me go over here and take a look at Jason's Mr. Motion. Now he went. This is a very, very serious Tarzan. Jason.
Yeah. This is basically the sort of style that I'm trying to get back in. By the way, I finished it.
Oh yeah, oh that looks good, dude. Yeah, look at that. Looks good. Well, to be fair, a lot of the Tarzan stuff, especially some of the later good stuff, Tarzan is brutal. Brutal.
Well, yeah, this is Edgar Burroughs, so
Yeah. And so this kind of face of Tarzan, where a face comes out of the shadow that would still your heart. That's Tarzan. Yeah, that's very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. What do you think,
I
Jeff?
almost messed it up.
It looks great, man.
That picture scares me.
Right? It's good though, because that's Tarzan. They always want to give us this kind of happy-go-lucky, nice guy Tarzan. He wasn't like that, and he did a lot of adventures that he wasn't loinclothed. By the way,
kind of don't care. Even though I get lost.
It's a civilized
nude?
man.
He was
he lives in
very
the jungle.
intelligent, civilized man.
Nude.
No, I'm just a little bit
Nude. He's suited up for action in a three-piece suit.
For sure. Well, you mentioned like the Lost Legion. That one right there. I mean, he's pretty much in a suit the whole damn time. Or one of those adventuring gear stuff. I don't remember him being loincloth at all.
I think the Return of Tarzan, the second one, he's pretty much in clothes most of it because he's on a boat.
He is
fighting like Russians, right?
That's right. Now it was unfortunate that we did get the son of Tarzan, and somehow he got lost in the jungle too.
That's sad.
And makes ape friends with the same ape tribe, the last of the ape tribes. So
He does.
you don't know if they were ape. It's kind of like a missing link, I guess.
Something like that.
The ones that raised them aren't like.
No, they're
gorillas.
not normal. That's true. All the Tarzan stuff does show the apes as being normal, but in the book they're not. They're not. Even if you look at the art, they're not drawn that way. They're drawn weird.
Oh, in the first book, the first time they see an ape, they can't tell if it's a man or an ape because it's like standing far away.
Yeah.
But it has a silhouette of like a person that's standing upright.
Yeah. If you go look at the art from the early Tarzan stuff, you'll see those don't look like normal apes. Yeah. But anyway.
A lot of that's because no one had a reference because we didn't have internet or pictures.
Or just libraries.
You had to guess, like you had to read descriptions that people gave and like, oh, okay, I guess that's kind of what they look like.
Maybe. It could be that. But anyway, if you like what Jason has done, please vote for the straw poll. That is a very good Tarzan, though. It really is. Now, Alan has done something else, something different. He has done a Latino Tarzan.
Oh, boy, Tarzan.
Yeah.
Hello, I am
He's
Tarzan.
much more caveman-y. Caveman Latino Tarzan.
He's like a John Hamm of the trees.
That's true. Well, I mean, keep in mind, he is French. Tarzan is French.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's a Jean Hamm of the trees.
That's right.
And with a loincloth.
And Jeff's happy about the loincloths.
He's an Englishman. He was just his first language was French.
No, you're right.
So
he is a British lord. You're right. But no, that's the thing. All his English was with a French accent. That was very much emphasized by Burroughs. Yeah.
For the first couple books. Yeah, his first language.
Yeah, but he was super smart. I think he spoke Russian as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Jeff, what do you think of this Cro-Mag here from Alan?
I like it, especially the loincloth.
Yeah, I know. You enjoy loincloths. And he's got himself a knife, a pig sticker.
That's right. He's never without it.
Never without it.
That was the bad thing in that Skarsgård movie was he didn't have a knife.
Didn't have a knife, and he was afraid to get in battle with a gorilla. And that's not Tarzan at all.
He didn't have a knife. And that was like, no. Tarzan always has his trusty Bowie knife.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you want to know what?
I met Tarzan. He was like, kid, be careful with that knife. And I was like, yes, sir, Tarzan.
But just so you know, if Jane had a choice between Tarzan and a bear, she'd take the bear.
She would take the bear. That is fair. But I do recall reading Tarzan taking out all kinds of animals, much more dangerous than gorillas, like, say, lions.
Lions?
Yeah.
Tigers?
Lions.
Oh, my.
No chance. Oh, my.
Oh,
So,
my.
Alan, how you doing? How you doing, Alan?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you barely. You're very soft.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had Discord problems, but good. I did have an alternate. I came in a little late.
That's all right. No problem.
Let's see here. I did do. I was doing Tarzan on his first date because there's no women on the island.
Fair. Well, technically, he was in the
He was on the
plateau.
island of beautiful men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anybody read Pablo Romero's comment in the
Juan
Oh, I like that.
Carlos
Yes, my one-
Tarzan. Yes.
Tarzan.
Yeah. Juan Carlos.
That's great.
Well,
Look,
I believe
I
Pablo's
am.
down in
How do you
Argentina, isn't he?
say? I
Somewhere
Yeah, but
South America, right?
not dark in
I
Argentina.
think
You know what I'm saying?
Pablo's from Argentina.
Drink a lot of German beer in Argentina, if you get what I'm saying.
That's true.
What?
That S that everybody drew in their notebooks, it's on the right arm. Okay, thank you. Yeah, very good. But all right, it's very good. If you guys like what Alan has done, please vote from the straw poll. Let's go see what Elrod is doing over here. I'm still loving what Melissa did, though. She just those poor Indonesians. Okay. All right.
Poor Pringles, man.
Yeah,
Gonna
that's
have a
true.
heart attack.
What do you got, Elrod? Oh, perfect.
I've got Tarzan with a lion. You were
Yes.
just speaking of that.
I was.
This is from last year. This is when we read through Tarzan of the Apes.
Oh, really? With Edwin? That's cool, dude.
Oh, this was the
You
other
guys still
thing
do
he
that?
always had. Rope.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
I
true.
was going to try and fit some of
Yep.
that in there, but
This was how he won a bet, right? With the so-called civilized people. Like, I bet you can't kill a lion. He's like, watch me.
I got rope.
This is him fighting with his stepfather, Kerchak.
Yeah.
This is just him hanging out in all of his stolen clothing from one of the tribesmen.
Yeah.
With the loincloth.
Yep. Here's Darnaud, his French friend, getting ready to be killed.
Very nice.
Here's Darnaud in Tarzan at the beach,
Sweet.
being like, oh crap, they left us behind. Here's a young Tarzan when he discovers the knife.
Yes, steel.
Here's older Tarzan with his Bugatti because he's successful,
That's true.
and his sadness over losing Jane
Aw.
because he sacrifices her.
Yep.
And here's his parents as his mother dies giving birth.
Aw.
Here's my favorite one, but like mainly this part where it's just like the hands
Yeah.
of Kala finding Tarzan in the crib where she leaves her skeleton behind.
That's true.
Here's Jane hanging out in the here's Clayton, not the big chin scary man from the Disney thing, but the waspy little British man that he is in the book.
Right.
Right.
Tarzan's cousin. And it's like the whole civilization versus the wild thing.
Right.
Another lion that he killed. Oh my goodness.
Another.
Here's Jane pining over the locket.
That is a nice Jane. That's a good Jane, dude.
One I want to redo. It took forever because I did nothing but
Detail.
reference clothing from that time.
Trying to get the dress back here, right?
And here's Tonight. Here's the one I gave up on because I didn't like the dinosaurs.
He did
Tarzan
go to
at
the
the
Earth's
Earth's
core.
core.
He did do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I like this one. But that's it. I don't like this one at all.
Okay.
He looks very Hammer horror at
As
the
if
Earth's
that's
core
a
movie.
bad
Very
thing.
Godzilla-like.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he looks like those giant puppets they had in the Earth's core movies with Doug McClure and
Yeah.
Peter Cushing.
Yeah, I love
Those
I
are
love that
awesome.
movie though, dude.
Here's a John Carter that I was just like, wasting time. Here's a Tars Tarkus. Oh, I left off his other arms.
You did.
I just realized that.
He's got two seats.
Yeah.
He's missing two arms. And here's the main one, I guess, is the
No, they're behind him,
Tarzan.
scratching his butt.
Tarzan in the trees.
Yes. Yes.
You'll be in my butt.
Okay.
I've
Very
got
nice.
a lot of leaves to add to this.
Yes, leaves are good. What do you think, Jeff? Yeah, that was a great little just we could just watch that all
Yeah, it's
night.
like a whole story.
It is. Yeah.
It's like
It's like a slideshow.
Yeah, it's great.
Here's
Good
where
s-
Tarzan found civilization for the first time when they come across the mission.
Mhm.
And then here's one of the Pevensey kids going to the witch's castle in Narnia. I don't know why that's in this stack.
Okay.
Here's Tarzan in Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin.
Going to save Jane from the forest fire in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then here he is saving Jane from the forest fire.
Or in Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin.
You should be wearing a cheesehead hat though.
He should. That is
Yeah.
Pretty more accurate.
That's why she left him, because she's like, well, you know,
You're not cheesehead.
a civilized man wears a cheese hat. And then here's Tarzan after he killed one of the other apes showing off his new knife to the tribe.
The cheesehead hat clashed with his loincloth.
It's probably what it was, dude.
My favorite one is Tarzan and Jane, but I don't know where I put that. Where she's yelling at him, and he's like, "Oh dear."
Oh.
I thought this is how you dated women.
I liked the one with Jane in the locket of leaves and vines. That was good.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. All right. Well, thank you very much, Elrod. That's a lot. If you guys like what he has done, please vote for him in the straw poll, man. For sure. Let's go over it. Well, look, I'm curious. Is this Conan peering through the leaves, or is this Tarzan peering through the leaves?
It is Tarzan peering through the leaves.
I feel that you were anticipating Howard, though.
No, actually, not at all. I didn't realize till after how my Tarzan is very Conan-esque.
Yeah, it's the jaw, but it is spectacular piece, though, dude. I watched it come together, and it's really great.
Beautiful.
It's all right, because John Buscema was just trying to draw Tarzan the whole time, so you're good.
Fair. That is fair. That is fair. But no, it looks great, and I love the fact that you got the knife in there, because Conan would have some larger butcher item.
I like him coming out of the trees like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I found it.
Yeah, and I was watching all the inking you had done, the initial stuff, and then you started putting color, and I was wondering, because a lot of times adding color ruins things, but it did not do that. So good for you.
Thank you. It's a pretty simple color palette, right? So it's just the green framing, but it makes the face pop out of the black, and if it was just black and white, you might lose a little.
I like because it looks like watercolory too. It doesn't look like digital color.
My original thought, when I first saw the topic, I was like, well, I would draw Deja Taurus, but everybody's going to draw her.
And no one did.
No one did.
That's what I didn't. I had the same thought. I was like, oh, I'm just a tourist. And I'm like, wait, no, everyone's going to do that.
Yeah, well, Armron didn't come today. We would have got one.
Do like 10 of them.
It's a lot of reference to get all the little details right. And I was like, I don't think I have time for that.
But in stories, in narrative, Deja Thoris is certainly one of the most alluring literative characters I can think of in my reading experience.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But anyway, what do you think, Jeff? I like it. It's very good.
Yeah, I'm liking it too.
Yeah. I love how when you get into detail, you notice there's actually cross hatching going on there, but you don't notice it.
Love the colors. Yeah.
Yeah, it is very good, dude. Well, if you like what you see, vote for him in the straw poll, guys. It's very nice. Let me
I like
jump.
the beat up knife too.
Well, I know it's tough for me because I think I got everybody. Pretty sure. I do have everybody. All right, so you guys get over there and vote.
Oh, here's more, Chester. I found him.
Yeah.
Here's Tarzan and his dead mom.
Oh,
I'm bringing up the room.
There you go.
Sad. Then we got, this is my favorite
always
Jane.
think of Mother.
Being stalked by Tarzan as she writes in her letters that he steals because he's a thief. Here's my favorite one.
She's upset with him.
Because I feel like I got his body perfect in this one too.
Yeah, he's doesn't know how to deal with that.
This isn't how I
And then here's
imagined.
Martin the Warrior, who's just in that stack for some strange reason.
Aw.
And here's Tarzan with one of the stolen letters.
The framing is nice there, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the one I actually put forethought into, I think, with the trees and then the eternal lens there.
Yeah.
And somewhere in there's a Martin the Warrior. That wasn't the
Really?
other one I just showed. Yeah, I don't know where he's in every one of these pictures, actually.
Aw.
There's a little Martin the Warrior in all of
Good time.
It's great.
or a little mouse head, I should say. There it is in this one. Hiding down here.
There he is.
Oh yeah, look at that.
You should fit in anywhere.
That's how you know when they make the AI art that it's not mine, because there won't be hidden mice.
That's true. Now, is this something that artists in generally do? Are you guys always hiding Easter eggs in your stuff? Is that a normal thing?
I do.
Eric always puts like overtly sexual things in his, but I mean, I just put my
Yeah. Like if you notice, my engine is holding a staff.
Oh, okay. Well, that's because
thought
he's
that was just
James
a
Gunn's biggest
Freudian
fan.
slip.
turgid staff. Yes.
Awesome. All right, let me go over here and take a look and see if we have any draw along stuff. So let me go to that area.
Ooh, what did Doug draw tonight?
Well, wow. No, Doug wasn't playing around tonight, dude. He's serious.
Oh, but this isn't an anime. He should like it, okay?
No, I'm saying
Oh,
in
he
a good
did?
way. He took this very seriously. I'll get to that later. We got Jason Gonzalez, of course. He's got John Carter of Mars here. And of course, it goes to the wrong place, as usual. Okay. All right. Be like that. All right. Let me come over here and put this up here. This is from Jason Gonzalez, of course, Thunder Rat.
Beautiful.
It is, yeah. Very, very nice. And he's got another one here. And unlike Elrod, he remembered all four arms.
He has forearms.
There you go.
There you go.
It's hard for me because I don't have forearms. I was born without them. I just have two biceps on both arms.
Oh, fair. Fair.
Like
It's little-
Popeye.
Little
My arms
stumps.
my forearms are biceps, my biceps are forearms. It makes my punches as hard as kicks and my kicks as hard as punches.
Fair.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Just spin
Yeah.
up your fist. Spinach.
If I remember
Oh, he did the
correctly.
human anatomy too. That's awesome. With the Martians, the green Martians, I ended up making them like more bug-like because it made the arms more logical, I think.
You need to do the second torso. There's so many ways
Yeah,
you could
that way I
interpret this
wouldn't have to do two pecs, just one.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Speaking of Popeye, have you guys noticed that the plethora of Popeye horror movies that have come out in the past few months?
Nope.
No.
Yes.
But it means I can put up my Popeye book and call it Popeye.
You should.
There you go.
Because for a very long time we had nothing but a dearth of Popeye horror movies. Now we're just there's a cornucopia of them. It's an abundance.
Aha! I may have forgot arms, but he added fingers. Touche.
Oh, take
and he
that.
forgot his antennae.
Take
Touche.
that. Take that.
Oh.
Take that. All right. Let me come over here to Twitter and let me see if we can find something. Elon does like his rockets. Okay. Got to try to find something cute. Someone sign us something. The Democratic governor of Hawaii has officially signed the first climate change tax in the U.S. Great. So Hawaiian people get to pay more taxes.
Even more money.
That's just
Check your
wonderful.
notifications.
From the state that wouldn't
Check
let
my
people go to the beach during
notifications.
COVID.
Oh, okay.
Imagine that.
Okay. It's nothing.
USA.
Whoa.
AI. Goodness
Yeah.
gracious, that's not cute at all. Why are you kicking people? Stop it. Why do people, when they want to act like they're tough, take off a shirt?
And do a backflip?
Yeah.
That was
That has to be staged.
That is
right?
staged. Yeah, that's certainly staged. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
you do see a lot of people take their shirt off before acting like they want to get in combat, and it's like, why? Alrighty. Hold on a second.
A wedding.
This guy shakes the hand.
Shakes your hand at a wedding.
That's
Um,
just
weird.
That's just instinct. He wasn't thinking about it. He shook one person's hand and then he.
It probably, because if it's not, then that's going to be a very interesting honeymoon.
No, that's.
They're homeschooling their honeymoon.
I
It's
guess.
just instinct, you know.
Yeah, he shook the father's hand. He just instinctively did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do? Stop that nonsense. Okay. Cher, are you
Maybe
not
he's
dead yet, Cher?
congratulating him because she's so lucky to get him.
Ooh. Can you deal with the water
Congratulations,
buffaloes? Oh,
lady.
you're in
You
trouble,
just
dude.
won.
You are in trouble. He's lucky he didn't get the horns, huh?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
This idiot. Okay, I don't know what this is. I have no idea. Okay.
I'm not really sure how kittens are going to fit into that.
Africa is learning to farm. Nice.
Okay. Cool.
Nice.
Wow.
Only took 2,000 years. Congratulations.
Well, they are very little people. Keep that in mind. Africans are very little. They're not big people. Okay. Stand on
Nobody said
date
a farm
of your
wasn't
shadow
hard.
to tell. Oh, nice. A human sundial.
Oh, that's cute.
Good. That's cute. Let's see. Oh, pizza.
Ooh, yeah. Pizza's cute.
It can be.
There you go. Food.
Yeah.
Don't say the magic
Oh,
white.
is that how you do it? You cut it once through the center and then,
No.
Oh, it is good. It is good. He was checking it.
It's a little
Yeah,
floppy.
he was checking it. People in boats. It's probably not going to end out very well. College basketball. It's a big girl. Already. I don't think I'm going to get. Oh my filter's not on. Oh, there we go. It looks so much better. Yes, ma'am. But of course, some of us here are old enough that the original one isn't that bad. Okay, it's that bad. I lied.
That's pretty bad, too.
I lied. Yeah. Oh, that's a okay. That's not actually. It's a whale shark. Yeah,
Oh,
no
whale shark.
problem. Everyone's favorite instrument.
I used to bring the colors to people.
Oh
my goodness.
I'm wondering where that black guy got his hair to from, bro. Looking like Chris Tucker from Fifth Element.
Why do I see so many videos of girls taking off their panties and using it as a scrunchie? What's the point?
Smelly hair.
Smelly hair.
Okay. All right.
Very smelly hair.
I'm glad someone knew the answer. Ma'am, that's not much of a dress. Okay. Ooh, that's a good scene. I'm not going to get anything cute, am I? I'm not going to get anything cute. Oh, wait a minute.
Wait.
Oh, it's a doggy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he made it.
He made it out. This one is like Dude,
Opens.
hold my beer. All right, you win, buddy. You look at the boss move too. All right, you win. There we go. Cute. Boss dog.
That
Very
works.
nice. All right, so let me go over here and let's take a look at what Doug has done. Of course, we have this caricature of Burroughs himself, of course.
Which is nice.
It
Very
is nice. It is very nice.
Very
But
nice.
look at this Tarzan, dude. Look at that.
Oh,
That's cool.
oh,
Yeah, he's
that's
got
cool.
the snake there. It is really good, Doug.
It's a great little snake. It's a little blue.
Yeah,
What's going on over there?
That could be straight out of Ren and Stimpy.
it could, but I mean, it's so clean, dude.
Yeah.
And clearly,
Oh,
just
yeah.
cute.
Yeah, it's really good. Really good. What kind of music am I going to get today? I don't know. Let's go check it out.
For I am Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle.
Very nice.
Thought it might be Guns N'
For
Roses.
I am Tarzan,
No, this is better.
What?
of the
This is
Jungle.
better. That is awesome, dude. Yeah, no, I think he's around our age, dude. He grew up with the same stuff we did, man.
Do you remember the animated Tarzan from the late 70s?
The Filmation one?
Yeah, Saturday morning cartoon. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Do
good.
I? Filmation
Filmation.
Tarzan.
Tarzan.
I'd have
Yep.
to look at it, see if I recall it.
They
It's
used
available
they used some
nowhere. either.
rotoscoping stuff that they ended
Oh
up
yeah, no, this one,
reusing
yeah,
later
I remember this
for
one.
like
Yeah,
Masters of the Universe and stuff.
yeah, I remember.
One of
this
a
one.
lot of the rotoscope swings were from the actual movies.
Yeah,
Were
yeah.
they? Oh,
Because they
that's
do
cool.
that where he swings across the waterfall and does the backflip off of the vine into a dive. That's a real
Yeah.
person.
Or
That
the
was
one where
Jacques
he comes
Mahoney, right?
he comes up high, he comes up to the branch, sort of comes up at the peak, halts for a second, lets go, and then just drops gently onto the branch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's yeah, but
I love that cartoon.
yeah, I'm pretty sure every Tarzan thing that existed I have seen. Yeah, I was a big Tarzan fan.
There's a big Tyrannosaurus.
That well,
That
sure.
was like Filmation's best animation. Like that and Flash Gordon were probably their two best.
Ooh, yeah.
It's because those are the ones they loved. Like Lou
Mhm.
Scheimer fought to get those shows.
They took it very seriously. It's not
Yeah.
kitschy
yeah.
or
Oh no,
it's
No,
that Tarzan is accurate to the books. They
although
adapt a bunch of the story.
they do, but it does cross over with a lot of the crossovers, though, right? There is many of the non-standard Tarzan stuff where he's going other places. CBS Saturday morning Tarzan, Sylvester and
In the
Tweety,
Super 7.
yeah, Shazam and Isis Hour, Arc 2. Oh, do you
Mhm.
remember Arc 2? I forgot all about that, dude.
Oh, the weird car. Yeah.
Yeah, Clue Club, Fat Albert, dude. I love Fat Albert, the Cosby Kids. Way Out Games.
Oh,
I don't
that's a
remember that.
connection to Tarzan. That has a Burroughs connection.
Does it?
You know what? Cosby's son. What was his name? The one that was killed.
I have no clue.
Ennis Cosby. His name was Ennis. The one that Theo was based on. And Ennis was the name of David Ennis from At the Earth's Core.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Because Cosby was like a huge Burroughs fan. He did
I
a
did-
whole 2-hour stand-up about Tarzan.
Well, I did not know that, dude. I knew that. Bill. I mainly heard his one of his albums, and of course, I watched Fat Albert, and of course, I watched his Cosby Show. I didn't know he was a Burroughs fan, nor did I know his son
He
died.
went
That sucks.
he went on to higher learning because he said he didn't have an excuse because Tarzan taught himself how to read, so he didn't have an
Really?
excuse.
That's fair. Tarzan did do that. But that sucks, man. I didn't know Bill lost his son, man. That's
Yeah.
Leo!
it's very unfortunate. Now, so you're telling me that the Cosby Show was kind of representing his actual life? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Well, Theo
Well,
was based on his son because
I
they
didn't
both
know
had
that.
a learning disability.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
it was
thought it was just some random thing he was hired to do. I didn't know it was
Yeah.
like a
Theo,
docudrama in a way.
Theo, Rudy, you see,
first you put the pill
Theo,
in the water, and you mix the drink when the night.
you're my son, and I
All right.
love you.
Well, let me go over here and vote.
Theo.
So, who won the drawn and quartered Ultimate Fan Edition Edgar Rice Burroughs competition? Now I got a bunch of choices
Oh, I
today,
got your
and
cuteness in the draw along, by the way.
what do you say?
I put your cuteness in the draw along.
My cuteness?
Yeah, the cuteness for the day. It's in the draw along.
Oh, you helped me out. Okay, fair enough. This is a dying dog, though. Why do I get a dying dog as my cuteness?
Just because he has cataracts doesn't mean he's dying. It means he's
No,
near
no,
death.
he's near death for sure.
I thought that was a White Walker.
Yeah, it might be. Anyway, what have I got? Number one, Eric wears only a loincloth in public. Hawkins.
Loincloth. Now you get it.
Fair enough.
I thought it was lion cloth.
Is that true? Are you always covering your
think I'm
loins with
dyslexic.
cloths?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I do have cloth over my loins every day.
That's good. It is the law. Yeah. Number two, Alan, the actual Princess of Mars. That's just mean.
Well,
Don't
this is what
you
it sounds
think
like
he
when
has
Turf's
enough?
back.
Well, I feel for you, dude, because you're it's bad enough that you have to deal with your half Mexican Cuban stuff. Now you're a female.
But he's a princess.
Hey,
and that's all
That's
that
fair.
matters.
for months when
I'm a
Amazon
princess,
screwed
at least.
when Amazon screwed up my book listing and put me under a female author's name,
Mhm.
I had to
Oh,
suffer
lucky you.
trans Herman for like months.
Trans Herman.
Wow, that sucks.
You
That does suck.
should have made your writing name PW Herman.
Fair enough.
Well, it's PW Hunter, but yeah.
Yeah. Number three, Two Banana, the man that time forgot, and for good reason, Mike. Oh, fair. Okay.
That one's harsh.
That was a bit harsh. It was a bit rough. We
Sorry.
also have Amy. Mars doesn't have the atmosphere to support a princess.
That's why she lives in East LA.
Yeah, that's fair. Number five here, Erotimus. Actually Elvis, but don't tell anyone. Fair
Don't
enough.
tell Jerry Lee, man. He
Yeah,
gets
don't
all
tell-
mad about it.
He get mad about everything.
Tell Jerry Lee he'll drown another kid in a swimming pool.
He probably would.
Oh,
Next I have Jerry, connoisseur of fine nanar sandwiches. Rascal.
Nanner.
Nanner, banana.
Nanner.
Nanner sandwiches. It's another L.
Angry
Same.
finger.
You can always tell
Angry
when he was creating the straw poll based on our conversation. Okay. Let's see here. Melissa, does Edgar Rice come with Chinese takeout? He does. It does. It's fair. It is fair. And last but not least, in the 8th position here, we have Jason. I was a teenage pirate of Venus. Fair enough.
I was a teenage pirate of the no. Okay.
Okay, so I got to vote. So who I'm going to vote for? Well, I know that Elrod and Jerry are at the top. I just have to decide which one. Okay. I kind of like Melissa's just because punching midgets is a good thing. I gotta put Jason toward the top, dude. There's no way.
Did you know there's a movie where Gary Oldman plays a midget?
That makes sense to me.
Tiptoes.
Tiptoes, exactly. I was like, oh my god. I
makes
saw the
sense.
trailer. I was
What?
like,
Makes
I gotta
sense.
see this.
Tiptoes? That's my favorite movie.
Okay, so I
Kate
got my top
Beckinsale.
three. How am I going to go with this? Just for the sheer bulk. I mean, Elrod. Jerry's is really good though, and Jason's was a really. I'm going with Elrod. Just quantity. Just quantity. All right, I'm done. I did my thing.
Yeah, because God knows I don't have quality for sure.
No, we're just going with quantity. Yep, fair enough. Are you gonna go there? I mean, what are you doing? All right, here, let me hit it again. Oh, there we go. All right, did I do something? Nope. No. Everybody likes Eric's engine. Fair enough.
The engine man.
Yeah, the engine. Yeah. And that Indian isn't even an Indian. He's like the last of the
He's a white-
Mohicans. Yeah.
He's a white boy Indian
Yeah.
who hates white boys.
He's a Hawkeye. Although when
They're
did
not whiter as he is.
when was the last of the Mohicans written?
Wasn't it like the 1800s?
Yeah,
Let me-
1800s, no?
Let me
Like an
check
old-
that.
700s? It's old.
It is.
That was like one of those Western
1826.
romance
What was
books.
it? 1846?
Wow.
1826.
1826. Okay, so it's 100 years before. Fair enough. That is older than I thought, though.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes sense, though, right? Because the French Indian War stuff, and before, of course, the Revolutionary War would have been fresh in the culture still at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So because that French colonial war, it created a lot of bad feelings, dude. A lot. Because we know that it was
Mel
all about
Gibson.
no representation and taxation and all that kind of stuff, but it was deeper than that, man. As usual.
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson, of course, the Patriot, as you do.
Oh my
You know-
gosh. He
well,
butchered those people and put their hands and feet on rafts and sent them down river.
Well, the thing with it really that I really wanted to know, did he ever make a successful rocking chair?
I don't think
Nope.
he did.
Mel Gibson?
I don't think he did. I feel
When Jesus came back
unfulfilled.
to life, they can't build a rock.
Yeah. I love the little.
He was more economical.
Well, I love the little addition when he comes in to bargain with the general there. Before they come in the room, he's taken time to look at the chair. Nice little tie-in, right? That's
Oh,
it's good filmmaking. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, Jason, Melissa, Mike, Amy, Jerry, Elrod, and Alan. Thank you all very much for coming in. But today's winner, by a lot, Eric. Eric wins, and his loincloth.
winner of the wheel.
Very nice.
Jeez.
Very, very nice.
Congratulations.
I was useless. I did nothing.
You guys did the show.
That's okay. It just, sometimes I want my vote to mean something,
I used to be somebody.
I want to be somebody. Anyway, let's go back over here. So awesome. Thank you guys for coming in. Edgar Rice Burroughs is awesome. If you haven't read it, read it. Because it's very consumable. It's very approachable. Unlike certain other things, like we mentioned earlier, another very prolific writer who has been turned into all manner of stories, Philip K. Dick, of course. It's not approachable necessarily, though, right? But Burroughs, his stuff is. It's adventure. It's fun. The pacing in the books are great, and most all his stuff is good to great, right? So you're pretty safe getting something fun if it just has his name on it. Although The Girl from Hollywood, don't read that. It's pretty
Not
bad.
that one.
No, it's a bad one. That's a bad one. And the middle section of Tarzan was got a little thick. The Barsoom stuff though, all 10 of those books, excellent. Those are good. He didn't drop off, even though they were over a long period of time, like everything else. Those didn't drop off at all. The Barsoom books are excellent. Anyway, let me go over here and let everybody tell us what they're doing, and we'll start with the girls because Andrew's not here. Girls,
Yeah.
hi.
Hi, how's everybody? Good to see you. Chat. Maybe I'm on the chat there for a bit.
You
Hadn't
did.
noticed until
I saw him
came
run
by.
over there.
It's so great to see everybody.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Finally got the new dialogue features finished, and now I'm just updating a playtester.
Oh yeah, that's right. So the navigation system.
Yeah, the navigation system works, and the ability to load dialogues, mid dialogue. That's all. That's all been proven.
So yay, I'm on that. Yeah. So that's going good.
Finish up the testing tool, and then we're off to the races.
But yeah, just mostly glad to be here and get to draw again. It's fun kind of doing something sort of painterly. Dude, my phone does this so much better than my computer. I really need to get some new imaging software on the thing. But anyway, great to see everyone tonight. Fun to draw these characters that are really awesome. Really awesome to get to see Elrod's old drawings again. Is like I miss those story time things. Those were
Me
great.
too.
So great to reflect. And I still think Melissa's was probably my favorite of the night. That thing's funny.
It is cute. It is cute. Yeah, very
So,
much
yeah,
so.
thank you.
And
And
no, excellent. Thank you very much, Amy. Doug is telling me he's only 29. That seems unrealistic.
what? He was a practice
Yeah, then you're an old soul, buddy. But no, my
There
kids are
might be a
around that
one in
age,
front of that.
and they grew up with Ren and Stimpy, right? So, maybe he is, or maybe he's just deceiving me.
Awesome.
Maybe he's been 29 for a lot of years.
Maybe like my wife. It took
Mhm.
forever for her to turn 30. At least 20 years.
Good for her.
My
It did.
wife is 39 every year. She's been 39, and every year that she's 39, it makes me creepier and creepier.
It does.
Mhm.
My wife has admitted we are up to 36 now.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, 36.
So
I
my
don't know
wife
why
just
that.
turned 50.
Yeah, but not from her mouth, I'm assuming.
When do you trade in for a new one?
hmm Yeah, no, it is funny. Ladies do that as they get older. They always say, "No, another year at 30." Oh, but yeah, no, especially with me, because my wife is like a year and a half older than me. Don't tell her I said that.
Oh,
So you're
I went
only
younger.
like 35. That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'm a youngin'. She's just
Mhm.
robbing that cradle. hmm
But still,
Yeah,
it's
you're my
aesthetically
daughter's
nice.
age, Doug. You're my daughter's age. And they did love them some Ren and Stimpy. We can all see that. Very good. Awesome. All right, let me jump over here. Thank you very much, girls. Let me go take a look and see. I can get rid of this for now. And see what Eric is doing because he's got our information. Go ahead.
Oh, so we got Mr. Andrew Fleming's going to show up next week to do Solarian Sun 4. He launched that on Wednesday. He is over 70% funded on Kickstarter right now.
That's nice. Good to
Yeah.
hear that, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Wednesday was just yesterday, so yeah, he launched yesterday.
That's nice. I
So
hope by the
that's
time
really
he comes
good.
in, it'll be completely funded. That'd be good.
I think it will be. Yeah, he's really close.
Yeah.
So, it's
And
been
of
a while.
course,
He hasn't been on in a long time.
well,
I
he's,
know.
the number of pages he has done is equal to that of the Library of Congress. So,
Mm-hmm.
It is a ridiculous amount. I can't remember what page he's on. I'm part of his Patreon, and I get the updates all the time.
he's in the 900s. Yeah.
Page
Probably.
1020.
And that's
Probably.
sequential. That's sequential pages, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. But that's like a lifetime's work for some people.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it
Just
is.
keep cranking out.
And
Very
then the
good.
week after that, we will be doing Robert E. Howard.
Oh.
Woo!
And I'll be ready for that like I was today. That's another author I have read. My father actually loved Conan quite a bit. I got him the
And we have added Elvis to August 14th.
Elvis.
Woo!
Yep, we're doing
On a
Elvis.
win that race. Lemonade. A cool, refreshing drink.
As you do.
Goodness gracious. I don't even know what you guys do for Elvis, but we'll see. Fair enough. The king
Oh, it's gonna be
deserves the respect.
We hair 'em and we scare 'em, baby. Hair 'em and I scare 'em.
Yeah. And then 28 years later, I did see the trailer on that. It looks good.
Yeah,
Danny
Well,
Boyle.
there's a lot of
Never,
movies coming out, so I added that one, and of course, Superman, Jurassic Park, and Fantastic Four will be coming up too. We'll be doing those.
Sure. Princess Mononoke, Mononoke Hime.
Mhm.
Very nice. Got some Lovecraft down there. Very nice. Very good. Cool. And how are our points looking today, Eric?
The points. Here we are. We got. I'm at top with 678 right now. Amy's right behind me at 648. Then you got Alan at 640, Armoron at 594, Elrod at 544, Melissa at 512, Mr. Moshe at 368, Two Banana Mike at 213, Johan at 191, Rosa at 166, Alpha Proto at 111, Zach at 104, Kinma at 88. Jerry's at 61, Argos Creations at 48, and One Doom Rabbit's at 34. And Chester has, let's give Chester some points this week. We're going to give you 13 points.
Oh, I get 13
You are now
points.
at 24. Yeah, you're now at 24
Yay.
points. You're getting ready to pass Rabbit.
My imagination earns me points, just so you know, Jerry.
That's right.
That's awesome.
It is.
Every points are great.
Now, if I gave you points for how well you stay on topic, you'd still be at 0.
Damn it. I was okay
But if you give
today.
him points
I
at how
did
he
have
gets
a.
sidetracked and derails, he'd have like 1,000.
You'd be leading.
I thought my opening synopsis was pretty good, though.
Yeah, but for 2 hours, you stayed on this topic for 5 minutes.
Fair. But we talked about interesting, important things in the world today.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's true.
You know, like monkeys.
Monkeys are fun.
Anyway, thank you very much, Eric.
Lancelot Link. When are we doing that one?
Lancelot Link. Oh, that would be fun, actually. Alan, what you got, man?
Nothing much. Working on secret stuff. I can't show anything off.
Well, fine. Be like that then.
I can
Santa
show
Claus.
something off. Hold on. Let me bring something.
Whoa, hey, not here. It's a family show.
Working on a logo.
Ooh.
Just can take a look at.
Nice.
Still a work in progress, but it's almost done.
Oh, what happened? Oh, there it is. Call fish tacos.
It's Cali fish tacos.
Oh, Cali fish tacos.
See, there's an I and there's the dot for the I.
I see it. Yeah, I see it. I don't know that I've ever had a fish taco.
Oh, so good. I had a fish burrito. They're so good.
Are they?
Yep.
Are good.
I've had a lot of shawarma. Well, it's a taco. It's probably I think it's the most popular taco in Mexico is the shawarma taco, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
The shaved kebab ones, yeah. Very popular.
Well, this was a challenge because this was done on Illustrator instead of just straight up drawing it. So.
What's the difference?
That's why this is.
Is that all vector file?
Vector, yeah.
It's all vectors, yeah. So I had to do this with a bunch of shapes to draw it, not like traditional like draw the line. I had to like make these shapes.
Yeah. So hey, Alan, I've done that with a lot of logos in the past. I don't know what version of Illustrator you're running. Do you have the blob brush as available to you or no?
Not that I got the now it's all subscription, so I get what I get,
Okay, so you can use the blob brush if you like let's just say this piece you're showing us that you did your rough here in Sketchbook Pro for argument's sake, and you can import that image and then go over that with the blob brush, and then you can just increase the blob brush, and what that does is it allows your vectors to continue to just take the shape of the stroke that you make. So instead of taking every anchor point and tweaking it, you can use that towards your advantage, and it speeds up the process big time. It acts like a brush.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Go for it, Chester.
Why bother?
Because AI is done for commercial use, so I can blow this up any size I want and not lose any detail.
right?
Oh,
Right.
Vector, you don't lose details. So it's like so let me explain it this way, Chester. A vector file, have you ever seen like laser cut steel with an image in it?
I have. Yeah,
Okay, and you know how crisp and clean that is?
it is.
That's exactly what a vector file is.
I get it. It's like a plasma experimentation. It
Mhm.
scales perfectly. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Awesome.
It's drawings with math.
I learned something. That's always good.
It is good to learn.
Thank you very much, Alan. Awesome. It is good
Yep.
to learn. Jerry, what you got?
Well, I have some fun stuff and I have some bad news. So the bad news is that we are at the last couple hours of my campaign and we're not going to make it. So
Really?
yeah. So that being said, I'm not giving up, and my plan is to work on doing some funding
Mhm.
through selling stuff, selling art. And so I'm going to start getting more involved with eBay and whatnot.
Mhm.
And I'll show you a couple
What
quick
about
things
whatnot?
here that I've been doing for that. So, like, this is a sketch cover that I did recently on this Fantastic Four #1 facsimile. So we'll put that up for auction and stuff like that. And then this other one that I've been doing is a Superman one where it's the entire book is blank. And instead of doing like it's supposed to be for 24-hour comic day, I just decided to do a whole book full of
Oh,
Superman characters.
what a fun way to do an art book.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So and then I'll there's crypto and
Yeah.
and I'll go ahead and auction this off as well through one of those platforms and that kind of stuff. So that's my new plan. So I've got a new
I'll
I've
go
got
back.
some Power
You,
Girl.
you need to increase the bosom.
Crypto looks like he's pooping.
No, these are on model. These are great.
Yeah.
Jerry, you might want to think about doing art for a living. Maybe.
I might give it a shot. Well,
You should.
I hear it doesn't pay great, but
No,
we'll
it
see.
doesn't, unfortunately, especially these days. But
Both are true.
yeah, we've of course this is off topic, but we've talked about the AI stuff here several times. I really think
Alright.
you guys need to get on the ground floor of that stuff because AI still needs the eye of the artist.
That is
True.
true.
It needs it. Because I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you guys in that, actually. A lot of people are really worried it's going to kill it. I don't think so. It's going to change it.
Yes.
But the artistic vision is desperately needed, I think.
So hoping I can
Jerry,
get to
did
the
you think
point.
about relaunching on Kickstarter?
So that's an option
Oh,
as well.
It
I'm
is.
gonna let it cool a little bit and kind of decide. I'm not giving up. The book's gonna get made one way or the other.
oh yeah,
And I need to
absolutely.
figure out sort of where did I fall short. And some of it is just was I not marketing it as well as I could have? Is it the format? So is Indiegogo not as buyer
Mm,
friendly as
Well,
Kickstarter? A lot of that stuff
well,
are all things that I've got to evaluate before I go ahead and
this is
try and
my
get.
opinion on it. We've been doing it a long time. Indiegogo requires you to have an audience. Kickstarter
Exactly. Yeah.
has a bigger comic book viewership than Indiegogo.
Well, Kickstarter is just in general a larger platform.
It is.
Period.
It is.
Yeah.
But if you have your own platform and you're known, Indiegogo is definitely a good way to go. But
Right.
Kickstarter, there's just more people looking for comics.
Much more points of discovery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so part of my whole process, my idea was I had used Kickstarter for the first issue and had done
oh,
fine. But I had not used Indiegogo, and I know people that have. I know people that do both,
right.
and so I wanted to try it to at least be able to compare and contrast, to
Mhm.
see
Sure.
what was a benefit. And one of the things I thought was going to be beneficial was their Indiegogo's in-demand option. So
Mm,
had it been funded, I could have kept it going in demand because that was one of the pain points I had with Kickstarter was once a campaign was done, I announced it and was like, "Hey, this is great. You know, we made our goal and we're great." And I had probably twice as many sales afterwards of people reaching out going, "Oh, I never heard about this. Oh, I didn't know. How do I get it now?" And now I had to deal with them individually, one off.
Kickstarter has a late backer option now too. After your campaign's closed, they can
That's
continue to
true.
back.
They do have that.
Okay.
With the
They did not have that last year when I.
It's pretty recent. I think it might be just this year is when it started.
Okay.
Yeah, then
So
they got it.
that's-
Their
I'm gonna go
infrastructure is
Kickstarter with my brother.
better as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But another, I don't know what I'm probably the worst person to talk to about this, but I know over the years we've had a few people come in, and what they did was they were on a thing called web comics or webtoons or web comics, I think. There's like this gigantic website with just, I don't know, millions of them. And they'll go build an audience there, and then they drop Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. These guys would know better than me. But I have heard that. That's too bad, dude. Your art is killer. So
Thank you.
keep at it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I have other projects as well going on that are doing just fine, and it's going to get made. It's just a question of, kind of like I said, reevaluating and then reattacking. So
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
your previous backers will be looking for your Kickstarter, so that's good.
yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much, Jerry, and keep coming back, dude. Your art's awesome. It's very
Oh,
nice.
thanks. Yeah, I have a great time.
No,
Y'all
yeah.
you just need to start about a half hour earlier.
A half hour. Well, I'm kind of pushing it for me anyway. I mean,
I know, but yeah, you have a unique situation.
Yeah.
Well, if we just moved back to the States, we wouldn't have that problem.
There you go.
Dude, if I move, you know where I'm moving. And that's
West
even
Virginia?
worse. No. But
Juarez?
no, definitely no. What do you want me to go to Guatemala? Goodness gracious. Let me see. Who have I not spoken to? Jason.
Hello. I actually have a question before I start. How do I show you guys my screen or something? Not my
share screen?
face. Yeah, my
Yeah, it should be under like your audio settings. Like there's the four little buttons at the bottom where it's like hang up, or I think it's like, what is it? I'm not on my. Are you on
It's
your
a
phone or
little
your
button that
computer?
says share your screen. It's like a little monitor with the arrow on it.
Yeah, if you're from your microphone and you swipe up from that menu, there's a share your screen
Yeah,
option.
it looks like a little monitor.
Yeah, it might look
Oh,
different
okay.
from like computer to phone or something like that. I don't know.
Okay,
On the bottom of your Discord screen, yeah.
All right, yeah.
Oh,
I
there
got
you
it.
go.
You might.
You do got it.
Sorry.
Here I am.
There you are.
All right, is it sharing?
It is sharing.
All right.
We are looking at you live.
Okay, so I was wanting to show you guys what my Etsy looks like.
Ooh,
Or our Etsy looks. Do.
I don't even
By the
know
way,
what an
I-
Etsy is, you know.
Really?
No.
Etsy is a platform where Disney contacted me and said they're going to sue me for selling Mandalorian drawings.
Oh, man.
Did they really?
Yes, they did.
So is Etsy something like eBay or?
Yeah, for crafts.
A little
It used to be
bit.
for crafts and artists, but now it's for whoever.
Yeah.
It's a lot of corporate.
Yeah, the
so
corporate
what we-
media invaded it.
So
Yeah.
this is what it looks
So
like.
it's
This
like
is
Amazon or?
called-
It's like a shop. You have your own shop on there with your own product that you ship out to people.
I see.
Yeah, I want to show you guys some of the stuff we have.
And how do you market
Yeah.
yourself on such a large platform?
Hashtags.
Luck.
Popular stuff.
Hashtag, all that links and all that stuff, and I try to advertise as much as I can by using Canva and stuff like
The
that.
thing that really works with Etsy is the more creative your description of your stuff is, the better it'll do.
So like double cheese burritos here.
Not going to sell. You gotta professional wrestling sell that stuff, and they'll buy it based on description. It's crazy.
Yeah, we have
yeah.
canvas art over here, which is mine. I
Oh,
drew
nice.
this. All right. There's a lot more right down here. This is one of my favorite ones. This is a seraphim
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
from the Bible.
Yeah. Well, of course,
Well, we have other things too.
You know what I noticed though, Jason, with a lot of the youngins, since he said that the wording is important, cooking or cooked seems to be very popular.
Cooking or cooked. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. I
Yeah, we
don't
got
think it means
Christmas, we got
what it's supposed to mean though.
probably not, but yeah, you know how it is. But yeah.
We got shirts.
Yeah, we got shirts. We got silly shirts too. That I have a young brother who can draw on the computers, and he drew something called Catfish with Legs. This is the Halloween edition of it. Yeah, he and you got some fall hoodies and stuff like that. One with sunflower on it, I really like this one. I actually drew it myself. 99% of everything you see that's like on Canva and stuff like that, it's mostly hand drawn by one of us. So
Oh, that's nice.
This is you and your wife?
Got some.
They're
No.
brothers.
I'm not married yet, man. But it's me, my family, my dad, my mom, my sister, my brother. We all have a hand in this.
Oh, cool.
This is our business.
Where are you getting your t-shirts done?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Where are you getting your t-shirts done? Like a local printer?
Oh, we use Printify. They'll print on demand. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Look into 1 hour tees or $5 tees. I forget what they're called now. They're a really good platform for really good platform for t-shirts.
$5 tees. I want to remember that. Okay, but this is my my first spiritual warfare hoodie that we put on here.
Oh, kitty bears.
And it still looks pretty awesome, by the way, in my opinion. But yeah, we got a lot more. There's Joan of Arc and Michael, but yeah, if you guys want to look more into it, just head on down here and check it out for yourselves.
Have you thought about creating some like flyers and going around to local church bulletin boards?
We have done that actually. We make pickleball sets and so we used to go to a church that they decided they want to do some set up a pickleball thing for everyone to enjoy and stuff like that. So we decided.
Where do the Christians hang out online?
Pickleball.com.
Pickleball.com. Okay, so yeah, we made like an advertisement poster for we put it in their like gym or whatever. And
have you heard of D13 Toys?
What is
say what?
D13 Toys. It's called Biblical Adventures. They're making Bible action figures.
Oh,
really?
fun.
Look into them.
Oh, are those the ones that just became available on Big Bad Toy Store?
Yes. I got a blank
really
body. I have no idea where I put it, but they're really good quality.
Yeah, they look pretty good.
Like I just got a blank because I wanted to make like a custom Tarzan or something, and I was like, "Oh, it's a good body for that."
Sweet. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
had a really good time.
All
right. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Very good.
Yeah, you should share stuff like in their Facebook page. People would probably eat that up.
That's fair enough. Let's see. Who have I not spoken to? Mike, I guess.
Yep.
I think just Mike. And Elrod. Hi, Mike. What you got?
Hey. Nothing. Same old. You can find me on Twitter.
All right.
You don't have an Etsy site?
No.
No.
Nope.
I don't either.
You should start making crafts.
I did till Disney shut me down.
Damn Disney.
Dang you, Disney.
Cool. Well, thanks, Mike, man. That was a cool bit you did today. Elrod, you want to say something before I turn it over to Jeff?
Check out the Zombieful World of Oz. And check out my new book, Monkey Planet, coming soon. And Monkeytopia. It's gonna be epic.
It's true. It's true.
And that'll be released along with Pigtropolis.
Pigtropolis, yeah, that's the one. That's the one right there I'm waiting for. That's the one. Excellent. Thank you very much, Elrod. All right, guys. Jeff, go ahead and take us out of here. Keep in mind, next week we're having Andrew back, and we're going to talk about his most recent version of his book. I don't know what episode we're on. It's a lot. But, of course, we got other things on the channel. Come on back, check it out. And, Jeff, take us out of here, man.
Just a reminder, I will not be there for all of June because I'm going to be going to be working on my book. And links to my books in the chat, and namaste.
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 Cool, Jeff.
Later, everybody.
All
right.
Guys.
Jungle.